Xiechong'an relied on the Five Tigers General Double Club's Huyan Shuang's peerlessly talented Wind and Moon display to defeat the powerful enemies Yi Futu and Song Feng. But the Yan Wudao, who possessed the Star General most adept in hidden weapons, Zhang Qing, suffered the first defeat of his life. The Earth Spirit Star Xian Lao of the White Tiger 7 Spirit Stars raised the All Things bracelet, which left Yan Wudao cutting an extremely sorry figure. The radiant light of the All Things bracelet restrained the undergoing rebirth flying swords, the Six Paths plate, and his other powers one after another, and each of Xian Lao's attack methods were done casually. Furthermore, Maiden Mountain's most expert hidden weapon Star General Agile Star Featherless Arrow Zhang Bailu was considered as having met her nemesis. Xian Lao was using some unknown escape technique. Each of her steps was illusory, able to switch positions in an instant, and it seemed as if she had an eye on her back. No matter how much support she drew from the hidden green bird, no matter how craftily she concealed her weapons, she was completely unable to so much as scratch Xian Lao, making Zhang Biluo endlessly frustrated. All things absorb energy. Xian Lao suddenly chanted. The All Things bracelet's densely patterned light rays suddenly focused. Time seemed to freeze. The jade bracelet spun, emitting countless afterimages. A ray of light fell towards Yan Wudao. This is bad. Yan Wudao immediately sensed danger. Zhang Biluo was extremely unreconciled. Her fingers curled and released to use the dark rank hidden weapon. Hell has no road. To strike the All Things bracelet. The All Things bracelet let out a clear ding sound. The jade bracelet shook, slowing for a brief moment. Yan Wudao knew this All Things bracelet's might. To be able to take the Six Paths plate, Yan Wudao immediately ordered without hesitation. Biluo, we are leaving. We will meet again. Zhang Biluo bluntly snorted. Space warped. And Yan Wudao and Zhang Biluo left this place. Xian Lao beckoned with her hand. The All Things bracelet fell onto her wrist and turned into a sparkling, normal jade bracelet. The woman wordlessly gazed at the Crystal Dragon Palace. Suddenly, her apathetic eyes slightly moved. Her figure sunk into the ground like mud, suddenly disappearing from view. The Purple Thunder monster's entrance stunned the entire Crystal Dragon Palace, and even made the originally slightly dismissive Xuanla Feifei give him a whole new level of respect. This Purple Thunder monster is somewhat skillful indeed, to surprisingly be able to break the barrier and the array. Xuanla Feifei gasped in surprise. She was well aware of the 24 connecting heaven-ocean settling pearl barrier's might. Even when she was at her prime, she would be unable to break through. Furthermore, for the powerful array trapping star generals to unexpectedly break after his appearance, he honestly was a bit shocked. Mu Wuyu excitedly said that the Purple Thunder monster had already aroused her interest. Now she could not wait to kill him. The little sister's words obtained Mu Huiyu's approval. Assassins were inherently supposed to take action at the most loathsome of moments, particularly when Su Xing was fighting on all fronts. To end him just when his power was flourishing would make Mu Wuyu feel a certain kind of satisfied pleasure. Originally, Xuanla Feifei was planning to seek out Kong Ho for a bout. Now it seemed that this woman was too abnormal. When she faced the Liao Emperor, she was not using full strength at all. The three of them were not her opponent. This fairy feels that Chao Gai has some plans for this Purple Thunder monster. Now is the perfect chance to kill him right under her nose. See how she reacts. Xuanla Feifei nodded. However, that truly is a pity. These little sisters will be upset to death. Mu Wuyu said, vexed. Perhaps this Purple Thunder monster truly can end the star duels. Mu Huiyu whispered in a sorrowful voice. Xuanla Feifei and Mu Wuyu was stunned. Elder sister, if he truly can change the star duels, then Wuyu will slightly look forward to him killing me. The girl mockingly smiled. Xuanla Feifei turned her head to Mu Qingying and Mu Dueying and said, in a moment, you must watch carefully. This is the last thing we can teach you. Mu Qingying coldly spat the word properly. Mu Dueying gazed in the direction of the Purple Thunder monster with a blank expression, her thoughts unknown to all. Mish Chili shrieked, displaying his true body. His true body was a flaming serpent in a sea of fire. His body was huge, his glossy skin slithering over rolling magma. I will kill you. Qingci's enormous star energy made Miscalculation harbor one final thought of putting all of his luck into the fight. Miscalculation's eyes were thoroughly red. He opened his maw, spitting out a wide expanse of lava. He then activated a powerful magic weapon, heaven-burning twin swords. These twin swords were refined using 2 of his own fangs. They were imbued with soul-refining flames, and were mighty. The 5 snakes burning fire token and heaven-burning twin swords caught the 9 dragons' magic weapons. Miscalculation hissed loudly. Qianrou, too quickly. His star crest glimmered. A little girl appeared in midair. That girl was delicate and fine. She had long, shapely brows and starry eyes, a white face and fair skin. Her beautiful purple hair was tied into 2 cute ponytails. Her hair was even bound in a butterfly shape. She wore a Western-style, fluffy, 100-pleat skirt. The girl's age did not seem more than about 10, but she had an aura that completely did not match her appearance. Those purple, crystalline pupils innocently blinked. Ferocity immediately appeared in her eyes. Yet each and every one of her movements was considerably calm and steady. Qianrou opened her arms. A gorgeous porcelain bottle full of dark purple clouds, with a dragon coiled around it, appeared out of thin air. Purple gold 9 poisons bottle? 3 Qingci and Yue were stunned. How could these 2 not recognize this star weapon? She was the ranked 92nd prisoner star dry land alligator Zhiyu. Watch Qianrou use life-demanding soul-seeking miasma. 5. To turn you all into ugly cripples. Qianrou turned the purple gold 9 poisons bottle over, letting out a pervasive fog of purple poison. I will go meet this little sister. Qingci, you handle that demon snake. Yue mysteriously smiled. Qingci immediately understood. Die. Miscalculation opened his maw to devour Qingci. The chi flames on his body swelled, just like millions of fire serpents leaping up. Qingci then pointed her hand, and a dragon shadow coiled around her whole body, blocking that maw. Miscalculation used his whole body's magic energy to contest Qingci. In his view, this picturesque woman apparently without any means of defense was merely relying on this 9 dragons seal, nothing more. Perhaps to other cultivators, a purple star astral treasure, the 9 dragons star driving seal, was sufficient to raise them by several levels. But as a white tiger territory demonkin, Miscalculation did not fear it at all. Miscalculation's snake body coiled around, constricting Qingci. His Fam's sword, becoming a giant mouth to devour Qingci. The yellow rank life-demanding soul-seeking miasma that Qianrou released was formidable. Yue had only just touched it, and her flesh immediately felt searing pain, as if she was melting. This is honestly quite the vicious poison technique. Yue smiled. She suddenly started dashing the moment she landed. Her figure was like a rainbow, the star weapon in her hand like an aurora, splitting the life-demanding miasma in half. Qianrou was calm and composed, strangely showing an evil smile. This princess is not afraid of you brutes. Saying this, an enormous and gorgeous flower popped out from the purple gold 9 poisons bottle. It blossomed in Qianrou's surroundings, forming a giant flower petal. The Yue who had drawn close in one move was immediately knocked away by this flower petal. Opening her hand to look at it, her skin was a vaguely purple color. Yue clearly felt that her blood vessels were full of purple poison. The blooming flower Yama is beautiful, is it not? This princess clothes cannot be dirted by a crass elder sister, who knows only brute force. Qianrou licked her lips, for she was only just starting. Dark rank technique? Yue felt her vision blur, and her body slowed considerably. Her heart was slightly impressed with this little sister who was unknown up until now. This poison fog would make a contractor-less star general feel intense pain. Without a star nest, to dispel this poison was very taxing on cultivation, and there was not time to catch her breath during a battle. Yue moved once more, her speed even faster. Flower bloom Yama. The flower of Yama bloomed around Qianrou. The beautiful purple flower was in full bloom beside the girl, full of an eerily evil beauty. Several moments later, Yue had no choice but concede defeat. Without a Star Master's aid, to break through this flower of Yama was indeed somewhat thorny, and Qianrou's technique was boundless, not like other star generals who had limits. Sister Qianrou, Yueying feels you are absolutely not simple. Why then, would you sign a contract with the White Tiger Territory's demonkin? Yueying warmly asked. Zhu Qianrou's smile vanished. The little girl very surreptitiously twitched her lips, and her purple pupils reflected an eerie glint. She sneered. If elder sister can be this arrogant when she sees that stinking old man, then fine. Is he very strong? Yueying could discern that the little sister in front of her was apparently very fearful. It seemed she had been forcefully contracted. Defeat this princess first, then we shall see. Zhu Qianrou shouted. The purple gold 9 poisons bottle flipped over. A magnificent poison fog sprayed out. Yueying dodged left and right, not at all eager to engage. This made Zhu Qianrou exceptionally resentful. This is why this princess is very annoyed by you elder sisters that can only use brute force. A cold wind moved behind her. Zhu Qianrou's eyelashes slightly drooped, as if she foresaw it. She showed a triumphant, sinister grin. Just at this moment, a painful scream came from the side. The little loli was surprised, and turning her head to look back, this distraction immediately slowed her, leaving an irrevocable gap. Miscalculation screamed. He rolled on the ground in pain, the flames upon his whole body splashing in all directions like a torrential downpour. Very quickly, their surroundings were of scorching and searing flames. In Qingci's surroundings, a tall woman with dark skin appeared. Her hand held a double-sided axe with surging killing intent. Her eyes were baleful and overwhelming. On Miscalculation's lower jaw were 2 deep gouges, injuries she caused. Elder sister, I will hack him to bits. Killer star Li Longkue hefted the bereaved immortal lofty slaughter, flying over with demonic strides. Miscalculation screamed in terror, but it was a pity that he could not easily use the jade pendant in demon mode. Just as Miscalculation planned to undo his true body, he was already a step too late. Killer Star Black Whirlwind's berserk speed was like her name, swift as a hurricane. A black tornado spun, and her double-headed axe quickly swiped across Miscalculations's body. Dark technique. Wild dance of demons and gods. Pa 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 pa. 6 Li Longkue gloomily stopped her axe. Miscalculations's snake body was already hacked to pieces, a solemn death. Dryland alligator Zhu Qianrou vomited blood. With her contractor dead, the little girl sustained heavy injuries. The purple gold 9 poisons bottle fell onto the ground, letting out a clear clattering sound, but Zhu Qianrou did not feel distressed like other star generals would when their contractors died. Instead she laughed. Idiot, this princess even warned you to not sign a contract. Now you got turned into mincemeat. Yueying could hear her sorrow. With an expression of interest, she quietly stood to the side. Qingci walked over at this moment. Li Longkue wanted to kill the girl, but Qingci stopped her. Qingci looked at Zhu Qianrou, and her heart sighed as she opened the birth treasure outline. Star position, prisoner star name, Zhu Gui nickname, dryland alligator innate skill, poison miasma 5 elements, fire yellow rank special move, netherworld life demanding miasma dark rank special move, flower blooming Yama earth rank special move, poison dragon swallowing heavenly smoke current status, star nest destroyed cannot be conquered detailed materials. Earth rank. Yueying was stunned. Suddenly, she noticed that the seemingly weak little sister in front of them surprisingly still had killing intent. If she had not been distracted at the end, perhaps she herself would be the one heavily injured, maybe even dead. It seemed that she had not been forcefully contracted at all. Hey, could you violent bulls kill this princess already? This princess currently can still use her earth rank. Zhu Qianrou haughtily said. Qingci summoned the heavenly star birth banner, hoping to change the situation. The little girl evilly smiled. You really are the leader star. If only this princess had encountered Big Sis first, that would have been good. Chili would not have died either. Forget it, this princess caused him trouble, so this princess will take her own life to accompany him. Qianrou you? Everyone was somewhat surprised. The other sisters also emerged in succession from Qingci's star nest. Qianrou looked back. Those pretty and flirtatious purple eyes saw through the scorching sea of fire, gazing at the far-off booming thunderlights. Then, she very gracefully stood, patting off her ragged 100-pleat skirt and wiping away some blood. She showed the disposition of a proud princess in the dark of night. This princess shall give you elder sisters a warning. Do not seek out that white tiger territory old man. He is very powerful. Without the heavenly books, you will not be able to defeat him. Just let the purple thunder monster and him decimate one another. Is he truly this powerful? Qingci skeptically asked. Qianrou grunted. Then, she blinked and earnestly laughed. Are you truly not killing this princess? If you are not, then this princess is leaving. Qingci shook her head. Li Longkue only obeyed Qingci's words and retracted her baleful aura. None of the other sisters could make the killing blow. After all, they were all sisters. Furthermore, although prisoner star dry land alligator Zhu Qianrou assumed a princess arrogant attitude, she was fundamentally not so horrid. Without her star nest, Zhu Qianrou could not last for too long. Her indestructible body would return to Maiden Mountain. This princess will first go properly bury Chili. After all, he did look after this princess in the White Tiger territory. Zhu Qianrou smiled and said. She skipped about, and all of the girls quietly watched her. At the instant Zhu Qianrou passed Li Longkue, suddenly, when no one could have anticipated it, Zhu Qianrou's eyes abruptly emitted a powerful and evil fury. The girl screeched, leaping forth. Her hands burned with raging poison fog as she scratched at Li Longkue. But Zhu Qianrou did not injure Black Whirlwind at all. The killer star's innate skill loss of pain perception made her attack completely ineffective. The casual Li Longkue did not need orders. The martial general instinctively attacked, cutting Zhu Qianrou down into the earth. No matter what, this princess will take revenge. Zhu Qianrou smiled happily. As she lost consciousness, her pupils lost focus. Her arrogance turned increasingly empty, and in the end, she completely vanished. In her dreamland, Zhu Qianrou seemed to remember that scene from when she first met Miss Chili. The Zhu Qianrou of back then had rushed about, inadvertently reaching the White Tiger territory, facing the White Tiger territory's terrifying dangers, leaving her somewhat at wit's end. In the sea of fire, that nondescript man then said to her, "Let me protect you in this place." Her breathing becoming gradually heavier, Humi was already covered in cuts and bruises. She relied on her strong willpower to prop herself up and not fall over. Arcs of electricity jumped about her body. Her clothes were already in tatters, her white arms covered in wounds. Blood dripped along her fingertips onto the ground. The dripping was a hopeless sound. But the girl was not at all hopeless. You still do not flee? Are you still waiting for this old man to use the good fortune prayer mat? Li Taisui gently fanned himself, speaking leisurely. Compared to Humi, he was a completely different person. If this old man actually uses the good fortune prayer mat, you will certainly regret it. Li Taisui heedlessly said. As expected, Humi is not your opponent. Humi panted, irritating the wounds over her body. Other than the supreme ultimate diagram, she had practically used every trick she had, and was unable to bring Li Taisui even the slightest bit of a threat. By contrast, the old man's attitude was easy, strolling through the courtyards, completely not using his full strength. Humi felt that these ninth-star duels truly were abnormal. Guardian star Su Jingshu raised her golden lance and jumped high. That divine spear in her hand dropped down, wrapped in power that could break a mountain. Jingshu, Humi called out, not daring to be slow. Dark star blue-faced beast Zijin held her extreme vast blue emperor saber in one hand. She raised her face, and her bangs were lifted by the spear's wind, revealing her bestial birthmark. Although her battle with Wuxia had cost her full power, Li Taisui used his powerful star energy to already restore the dark star to perfect condition. Clang clang. Sparks scattered everywhere. Yang Zijin caught Su Jingshu's attack. Her leg kicked, and the earth caved in. Soaring upwards, Yang Zijin's assault was like an animal on the hunt. When she attacked, her attack was fatally fierce. Blue saber light passed by. Su Jingshu's armor then caught the extreme vast blue emperor saber. Watch this. Su Jingshu shouted, and she raised her spear and stabbed. A crackling, unstoppable gust rolled up, completely disintegrating the true qi surrounding Yang Zijin. The woman who was apathetic as a flower was unmoved. She stepped in midair, and her figure vanished from under the spear. Su Jingshu raised her head. Yang Zijin already appeared several meters above her. Blue-faced beast rode the sail, falling towards Su Jingshu. Su Jingshu charged all of the star energy in her body. Yang Zijin disappeared then reappeared, flitting about instantaneously during her descent. Her speed instantly accelerated to a degree that Su Jingshu did not anticipate. Su Jingshu said to herself, "Oh shit." The dark star finally showed her fangs. She extended a hand, dazzling Su Jingshu's eyes. The extreme vast blue Emperor Saber's saber chi then wrapped around Su Jingshu, turning into dragon fangs that ground up the guardian star. Astonishingly, this was her dark rank saber technique Heavenly Dragon in Dance. Her armor glowed brightly. Su Jingshu relied on her innate skill to barely resist, but the dark star's star energy realm was clearly higher than hers, already near true Phoenix realm. Regardless of reactions, actions, strength, or speed, her continuous slashes made Su Jingshu collapse onto the ground. Compared to Humi's injuries, she herself was no better. Humi wanted to intervene, but Li Taisui's lightning obstructed her. She could only call out, "Death before dishonor is a great feeling." Su Jingshu laughed and charged fearlessly forward. Yang Zijin gently shook her head, maintaining her negative attitude. The girl took a knee, suddenly swinging the blue Emperor saber. Their silhouettes passed by another. Su Jingshu gasped, finally falling into the star nest. Yang Zijin sheathed her saber, her black and white skirt untainted by even a speck of dust. "You still will not leave?" Yang Zijin spoke, a voice like waves, beautiful and slow. When she finished speaking, Yang Zijin stopped her steps. She looked at her shoulder and noticed her shirt had a hole torn in it. Blood dribbled out, staining her immaculate clothes red. Humi inwardly sneered. She did not expect that Su Jingshu would only be able to graze the dark star ever so slightly. It seems this old man cannot show mercy. Li Taisui's eyes released a stern glint, and his fan tapped. A blinding arc of lightning struck. Humi retreated. Her face still maintained a hopeful smile. "Senior ought to have already done so." "You really do not fear death?" "Humi is afraid of death." Humi was calm. "But there is a man who loves to play the hero who saves the beauty. Humi is waiting for him." Li Taisui sneered. Suddenly his fan shook. A violent thunderbolt struck. With a bang, it completely knocked Humi's incoming flying swords aside. Humi's expression changed. This old man was also capable of powerful abilities, for her super void flying swords were incapable of resisting. Humi promptly wanted to retreat, but Li Taisui's swift killing move had only just begun. The lightning that flew over suddenly seized her body, digging into Humi like claws. In that instant, searing pain made the fox of voracious admiration nearly lose consciousness, but Humi grit her teeth. If she fainted, then she would inevitably die. Humi used all of her magic energy to receive this blow and retreat backwards. She immediately thought of using the jade pendant, but the incoming lightning rolled once more, not giving her any chance. Humi's body suffered this attack heavily. Her muscles and bones all crumbled as she powerlessly flew backwards. "You are too arrogant. This old man shall give you a lesson in regret." Li Taisui's pupils were like a beast's full of viciousness. He opened his mouth, and a beast of lightning galloped forth, instantly descending upon Humi's head like an executioner's blade. Fong of the Thunder Beast. Just at this moment, purple thunder crackled and flocked from behind Humi, appearing to clash with the Thunder Beast head-on. Lightning exploded, and thunderbolts jumped in the surroundings, shattering everything. A figure appeared behind Humi. The girl felt her originally limp and powerless body be propped up by a sturdy chest. Instantly, she was filled with a feeling of safety. "You actually came." Humi giggled. Su Xing held Humi Purple Mansion Immortal Thunder attacked, but against the head of the White Tiger Seven Spirits, the Li Taisui, who was similarly an expert in thunder magic, Purple Mansion Immortal Thunder, was completely unable to last for too long before being shredded by the Thunder Beast. The leftover arcs of lightning still pursued them. "Combine," Su Xing ordered. The 12-wide Heavenly Abyss swords clattered together like shields, combining without showing any cracks, finally stopping the Thunder Beast. But when the powerful surplus energy slammed against the flying swords, the life cast linked contractor, Su Xing, still felt very pained. After the wave of powerful lightning passed, the Crystal Dragon Palace was practically reduced to a tenth of its original size. The interior treasures were all destroyed, and the other cultivators stared dumbstruck. Already no longer daring to spectate, they scattered in succession. So you must be that purple thunder monster. Li Taisui sized Su Xing up, showing a bit of interest. And you must be that old man. Su Xing chuckled. The Humi against her chest smirked, but this action aggravated her whole body painfully. Why save Humi? Humi is your enemy. Humi asked in a low voice. I didn't want to save you at all, but since this White Tiger 7 Spirit Star is the enemy, we can ally for the time being. Besides, I know you have a supreme ultimate diagram. Su Xing said bluntly. Su Xing had sensed Li Taisui's power from very far away. Compared to him, this old man was truly a villain. Looking with seeing clearly. His nearly supervoid late-stage cultivation was simply unbelievable. Could he break through to transforming Star of Annihilation by revealing his true body? This was the first time that Su Xing had such a feeling of defeat. This old man was far more outrageous than he. Wuxia, Zhang Yuqi, Yan Yizhen, Hunyangzi, Hua Wanyue and the others were already incapable of further battle. Right now, Su Xing needed to ally for enough fighting strength, and the Purple Firmament Immortal Palaces Humi was the best choice. Regardless of her cultivation or her star general, she was well known among the star masters of the star duels. The Supreme Ultimate Diagram magic weapon was even more capable of facing off against him. And with her aid against the Thunder Old Man, they would be like tigers that grew wings. An alignment of interests is normal. Humi smiled. However, Humi is currently unable to use the Supreme Ultimate Diagram. Just as Su Xing was about to say something, a jealous voice suddenly entered his ear. Lord Husband, just how long will you hold this beauty? Zhao Hanyan already rushed over, seemingly smiling. Su Xing was startled, only then noticing from Zhao Hanyan's warning that he was being too dubious with Humi. The girl lay limply against his chest, and one of his arms was even wrapped around her slender waist. And because of her battle with Li Taisui, Humi's whole body was covered in wounds, her light purple immortal skirt already utterly frayed. That her jade-colored bodice exposed the underside of her breasts was extremely audacious. From Su Xing's overlooking viewing angle, her perky snow-white peaks and deep cleavage were completely visible to him. This scene was honestly very sensual. However, what sort of person was Su Xing? He possessed more than a dozen star general wives, so he was already immune to such stunning beauty. Su Xing said, Han Yan, how could she ever compare to you? Saying this, Su Xing imbued a ray of true qi into Humi, and afterwards handed her off to Insuin to heal. To badmouth Humi right in front of her, Humi had even thought that you were very knowledgeable about romance. Humi indifferently said. An ice-cold figure blocked between Humi and Su Xing. Lin Yingmei separated them, clearly very uncomfortable with this woman. Humi smiled. She wanted to say something, but Lin Yingmei already shifted her gaze onto Li Taisui. Young master, allow your servant to meet him first. Lin Yingmei gripped the 5-star Arctic Star Serpent Spear restlessly. Yingmei will go together. Su Xing had hardly finished speaking when the two of them tacitly united. The 36 immemorial flying swords lights were like rainbows. Purple Mansion Immortal Thunder, and the Meditative Mind Lotus Flower were activated in succession. Su Xing borrowed innate skills to rush forth, to kill the enemy in a spurt of energy. Yang Zijin moved at the same time, quickly obstructing Lin Yingmei with her extreme speed. The Arctic Star Serpent Spear and the extreme vast blue Emperor Saber clashed. Yang Zijin immediately sensed strength that far surpassed the guardian stars. Yang Zijin did not dare be careless, easily using her yellow rank tooth extraction. Saber light suddenly slashed. Lin Yingmei caught it with the end of her spear shaft and then twirled her spear. So you are the one who injured Siyou? Your servant will show no mercy. Lin Yingmei said coldly during their battle. Same here. Yang Zijin calmly answered. The immediate reply was majestic Star Panther head Lin Yingmei's cold and absolutely peerless spearmanship. This old man actually wants to see what virtue and ability can make the majestic star follow you. Li Taisui moved his fan. Several thunder beasts appeared in succession. When each of his abilities surprisingly died out with the thunder beasts, Su Xing's divine intent secretly seized the four symbols seal. His blood shadow escape technique rose, closing into Li Taisui's side. The old man appeared very clear about Su Xing's frightening points, and Li Taisui then tapped his fan. A thunderclap burst out from his fingers, like a sharp sword piercing through. Su Xing used Purple Mansion Immortal Thunder to block. It was unexpectedly unable to defend, and he was pushed several hundred meters back. Purple Thunder Monster, your cultivation is still too shallow. You wish to face this old man by yourself? Li Taisui chuckled derisively. There is also us. Voices full of killing intent flew in from the sky. Gong Kaiwei, Long Nu, Lu Xiao and the others rushed over in succession. This group surrounded Li Taisui. Including Su Xing's beauty, this extensive battle formation made the other cultivators dumbfounded. It seems your women really are numerous. Humi's mocking voice rang in the silence. Shower is not one of his wives, but neither does she want to take advantage of his troubles. Jade Qilin Lu Xiao raised both of her hands to show her innocence. Sitting atop her Qilin beast, she made clear that she did not want to join in. Everyone could understand. As Maiden Mountain's #1 Marshal General, even if the Strength Star directly confronted a Star Master, she would always disdain to kill the contractor first. This was a pride passed down over 1,000 years. The others would not be so soft-hearted, especially Lingyan Princess Zhao Hanyan, who had been defeated the first time by Li Taisui. She wanted to avenge Junqing. Without any hesitation, everyone used their sword chance. More than 100 flying swords were simultaneously unleashed. Li Taisui's eyebrows rose, showing slight surprise. He never expected this legendary purple thunder monster, who angered gods and men alike, would surprisingly receive the coordination of other Star Masters, and the cultivations of each of these Star Masters were all Supervoid stage. Compared to his White Tiger 7 Spirit Stars, they surprisingly did not lose out in the slightest. Interesting. Li Taisui thought to himself. He did not dare be indolent. His hand gripped the fan and waved it. From the center of the white paper, more than 100 lightning bolts entangled the flying swords. To be able to contend against all of these flying swords with his own power alone, this old man who was the head of the White Tiger 7 Spirit Stars clearly had some background, Su Xing thought to himself. He did not dare be careless. If all of this was the case, then this was far from enough. His divine intent moved, and the already prepared 4 symbols seal flew out. The jade seal suddenly expanded, glowing with bright white light as it unleashed the holy beast White Tiger True Spirit. The White Tiger roared, ferociously pouncing. The powerful spiritual pressure made Li Taisui's incoming lightning bolts completely fall apart before they could reach the White Tiger, and Zhao Hanyan and the others were like Su Xing. They knew that Li Taisui was unfathomable, choosing this chance to strike a fatal blow in a single rush. Zhao Hanyan activated the Yin-Yang bracelet, Siyou used the dual modes ruler, and Long Nu also put all of her strength into using her powers. A good trick. Li Taisui said praised them indifferently, nonchalantly changing his pace. 2 of his fingers closed together. He chanted. A ball of thunderlight appeared out of thin air that hovered above Li Taisui's head. After the thunderball jumped about the surroundings with a crackle, it spun extremely quickly. Each revolution seemed to suck in the spiritual power hanging in the air. It released a curtain of thunder, and within a second, the thunderball had spun more than 100 times, and its form had increased several times in size. 100 beams of light instantly expanded, flooding the buildings of the Crystal Dragon Palace, becoming an indescribable scene of thunder and lightning. Careful! Su Xing warned loudly. How this is? Zhao Hanyan was astonished. A force that was unexpectedly powerful beyond compare was transmitted through Li Taisui's technique. Purple Thunder Monster. This old man wonders whether or not you can block this old man's thunder moves 9 worlds. Li Taisui slightly smiled and his fingers parted. With a crash, the thunderball suddenly expanded. 10,000 zhang of lightning splashed over the entire area. Zhao Hanyan and the others were continuously pushed back by this scorching thunderclap's power. Their connections to their attacking magic weapons were surprisingly all cut by the thunderlight. Li Taisui pointed, and one bolt of thunder became an enormous beast that filled the heavens, lunging toward Su Xing, its giant mouth open. This kind of universally shocking technique did not lose out at all to a Star General's Heaven-Earth Dark Yellow skill. Su Xing immediately struck a hand seal. Instant frost flames surrounded him, freezing space to ward off the rolling thunderlight. Just as thunder moves 9 worlds tyrannically rolled over, at this moment, a storm suddenly rose. This green hurricane flew out from behind Su Xing, colliding with the thunderlight. An inconceivable scene happened. The powerful thunder and lightning lasted merely a moment, before they were completely devoured by the green hurricane. Su Xing looked. This was not a green hurricane at all. This was clearly nothing more than a countless number of essence-swallowing dragons. In the blink of an eye, Li Taisui's lightning had vanished into thin air. The old man was shocked. Everyone subconsciously cast a glance over. A gentle girl dressed in blue and white palace garb currently pointed her delicate finger. Her bright eyes showed a slightly pained expression, but she did not want to concede defeat in the slightest. She was none other than efficacious Star and Suwen. Essence-swallowing dragons? Li Taisui recognized the identity of this storm. The astonishing legendary demonic life forms that could consume the 5 spirits. Even Li Taisui had only heard about them in rumors. He never thought this kind of terrifying animal would appear in the efficacious Star's hands. To be clear, essence-swallowing dragons were born from consuming essence chi. If the essence chi was not pure, they would self-destruct. They were very difficult to raise. And the essence-swallowing dragons before them were completely clear and limpid. Their green lights were like rainbows, their essence chi pure, valuable beasts that were surprisingly hard to come by. However, to control nearly 10,000 essence-swallowing dragons was extremely taxing on Insuwen's divine intent. Efficacious Star Insuwen's eyes that did not concede defeat made Li Taisui praise her. The girl's delicate voice broke out of her throat. The essence-swallowing dragons became green clouds that flew towards him. Li Taisui continuously released several thunder amulets ineffectively into the swarm of essence-swallowing dragons. Seeing his thunder magic lose their usefulness, it was at this moment a bright jade bracelet appeared out of thin air. It released bright light that completely trapped the essence-swallowing dragons. The mud beside Li Taisui transformed into a wonderful human shape. She was none other than Earth Spirit Xian Lao. Xian Lao, you have come. The old man smiled. Xian Lao nodded. Her hand rose. The earth beneath Su Xing's feet cracked open, and a mountain broke out of the ground, sending the group flying high. Once again, they used the sword chant and magic weapons. At the same time, the 4 symbols seal manifested the black turtle, vermilion bird and azure dragon. Immediately, they attacked the All Things bracelet. Outer Void Flying Immortals Sword Array. Cold Ice Snow Soul Sword Array. Heavenly Paradise Water Moon Sword Array. Ocean Settling Divine Needle Sword Array. The 4 great beauties Zhao Hanyan, Gong Kaiwei, Siyou and Long Nu all used their sword chants at the same time. Zhao Hanyan's flying swords manifested their absolutely stunning true spirit sword immortals, descending from the 9 firmaments and encircling Li Taisui. Gong Kaiwei's flying swords were white lights of ice and snow, creating the scene of a frozen world. Siyou and Long Nu also used each of their abilities. The former's flying swords were like the reflection of the moon in water, unclear whether it was real or fake. The sword array of unclear reality immediately covered the world. Long Nu also used all of her power. The flying swords became 24 ocean-settling divine needles. Each of the ocean-settling divine needles' sword chi turned into chains, fastening around one in particular. Su Xing did not neglect anything. His 36 immemorial flying swords each turned into golden dragons, green pythons and a giant mountain. Their powers were not inferior to the girl's sword arrays. Taisui. This scene made Xian Lao slightly moved. Li Taisui was neither hasty nor slow. He wore a kindly grin. Not bad, not bad. This is a star master worthy of this old man's gaze. He spat out a mouthful of clear chi. An unremarkable prayer mat flew out. This prayer mat's appearance was plain and simple, completely without luster, without power, nor any waves of spiritual power whatsoever. It was nothing more than a prayer mat. In their fields of view, A mass from the times of primal chaos formed, and those terrific sword arrays surprisingly completely vanished. Everyone was shocked. The good fortune prayer mat. Umi shouted. The good fortune prayer mat's appearance shocked everyone. And Emperor Liang and the others who fought Northern Darkness has fish stopped one after another, looking in astonishment towards this number 1 magic weapon of the spirit sealing list. When the good fortune prayer mat appeared, Li Taisui's surroundings were enveloped in endless primal chaos. Su Xing, Zhao Hanyan and the rest's coordinated assault became nothingness. Even spirit treasures the likes of the 4 symbols seal were devoid of their power. The 4 great holy beasts were completely returned to primal chaos. Northern Darkness has fish snorted. The 3 clarities banner waved, and the 3 doppelgangers broke free of Long Wanxin and the others. One controlled a supreme sword chant, one used the most high indifference, and one used the extreme clarity immortal light. Without consulting one another, the doppelgangers mounted a sneak attack on Su Xing. The most high path's number 1 cultivator was also the Azure Dragon Territory's Supervoid Peak cultivator. Emperor Liang and Long Wanxin were temporarily unable to obstruct him. As a Star Master, this old man is breaking the rules a bit. Kong Ho was above, witnessing the scene before her as she spoke to Chao Gai, who refrained from entering the battle. Just what is the matter with the White Tiger Territory's Star Master? Chai Ling at this time also came to ask. Behind her was also Gu Tong. Gu Tong gazed at Su Xing's side with a nervous expression. She had originally thought of going to help Su Xing, but she was pulled back by Chai Ling, who said that without a star nest, Gu Tong should not interfere in a battle between these abnormal star masters, so as to avoid self-destructing herself. Queen Noble Star very clearly indicated she was not afraid of Gu Tong's star falling, but she was afraid that Su Xing would be distracted. This female tiger was quite speechless. The White Tiger Territory has had Star Masters since the first Star Duels began. Some demonkin received the imprint of the Star Duels and became Star Masters. Because only those with a complete human form can sign a contract and possess a star nest, they only finally appeared during the 9th generation. Chao Gai explained. Just what demon beast is this old man? How is he so powerful? Gu Tong asked. Judging by his thunder magic, he should be categorized as a thunder spirit type of demon beast. Kong Ho thought. From her extensive reading of books, she knew much about the White Tiger Territory. Thunder spirit demon beasts are myriad, but your servant honestly cannot recall one like him. Will Maiden Mountain not manage this? Chai Ling charmingly covered her lips. The 9th Star Duels. The mysterious and inexorable have their own factors. Chao Gai matter-of-factly answered. Chai Ling sneered. But then what do the Overlord trials count as? Chao Gai smiled and said. If he cannot pass even this level of ordeal, then how can he be able to achieve the wish? Chai Ling gasped. It sounded as if Chao Gai stood on Su Xing's side. This Overlord trial thing made Gu Tong puzzled, but she could discern that Su Xing had apparently met with Maiden Mountain's hostility. Just what is happening? Female Tiger worriedly asked. Can the Star Duels truly be ended? Kong Ho stretched herself. Up until now, Maiden Mountain has never even said why we Star Duel. And now it seems that the previous Overlord have become nothing more than Maiden Mountain's tools, reduced to a trace of ridiculous true spirit. Just what is Maiden Mountain, Chao Gai? Why not tell us directly? The girl indifferently said, her expressions nevertheless very dissatisfied. Chao Gai wanted to say something, but stopped. In the end she still shook her head. If you can ascend Maiden Mountain, you will naturally understand. To know now would merely be a burden. Humph. This old lady. Oh, big sister Chao Gai, may I ask a question? Gu Tong raised her hand, cautiously speaking. What do you wish to ask? Is there a limit of 15 star generals who can ascend Maiden Mountain? Gu Tong swallowed. Chai Ling also stared at the 1000 Buddha star, her eyes concealing slight worry. This palace also does not know about this. However, since there is the 7 stars assembly, there naturally will be its own logic. Chao Gai's dubious words made Chai Ling displeased. Just as they were about to speak, a sudden change occurred at this time. Li Taisui raised a prayer mat, and then a lump of primal chaos wrapped up the surroundings. The scene inside immediately became nothingness. Such a powerful magic weapon. This is never before seen in Liangshan continent. Chai Ling uncomfortably gazed at Kong Ho, as if Kong Ho did not understand Little Whirlwind's worried thoughts about her lover, but she absolutely would not meddle in the Star Duel's affairs. Even if she herself had quite a favorable impression of Su Xing, she did not want to favor anyone in particular. However, your humble servant actually can help him first settle a few minor inconveniences. To have him alone sort out the entire Crystal Dragon Palace's aftermath is indeed quite difficult for him. A bottle of wine suddenly appeared in her hand as Kong Ho smiled somewhat drunkenly. Chai Ling froze. Seeing Northern Darkness has Fish's 3 doppelgangers fly straight towards the zone of primal chaos, they clearly wanted to seize the chance for a surprise attack on Su Xing. Add on that this top-notch number 1 ancestor of the most high path was supercluster late-stage peak. Su Xing would not last even if he was an Azura. Then this queen must trouble elder sister. Chai Ling curtsied. Kong Ho smiled, her beautiful figure vanishing. Just as Northern Darkness has Fish was charging all his magic energy in preparation for an all-out fight, a dangerous presence blocked his path. Your humble servant will not pursue you any further for your usage of the connecting heaven-ocean settling pearls. However, your humble servant will ask that you quickly leave right now. Kong Ho calmly issued him a command to remove himself. Can it be that even you protect that purple thunder monster as well? Northern Darkness has Fish's expression changed. Kong Ho scratched her head, an expression of vexation that said she did not know how to reply. Northern Darkness has Fish furiously said. This old man and the purple thunder monster can never live under the same sky. Today this old man absolutely will not forgive you. With a bang, the 3 Clarity's banner doppelgangers unfolded, releasing 3 rays of escape light that split apart. Even Emperor Liang and Long Wanxin were unable to stop them. Kong Ho shook her head, somewhat pitying Northern Darkness has Fish's behavior. Kong Ho's figure twisted. That was an incredibly high level of speed. Before Northern Darkness has Fish could activate his powers in time, 2 terrifying punches directly attacked his chest. Even though Northern Darkness has Fish was already outputting magic energy to defend himself, his magic energy completely collapsed under the force of the punches. There were 2 screams. 2 of the Northern Darkness has Fishes formed from the 3 Clarity's banner were surprisingly instantly killed by Kong Ho in a mere second, leaving only the true body. Northern Darkness has Fish vomited a mouthful of his aged blood. The true body the 3 Clarity's banner manifested, and his own person were identical, linked in mind and spirit. It could be said that they were bound together for good or ill, suffering the same fortune and misfortune. To have lost 2 of them to Kong Ho made Northern Darkness has Fish sustain heavy injury. If it was not for Kong Ho holding back, Northern Darkness has Fish, who was reputed to be the Azure Dragon Territory's number 1 Supervoid ancestor, would perhaps already be destroyed entirely. Emperor Liang and Long Wanxin, who was this scene, showed astonishment. However, if they knew Kong Ho's identity, they would not feel strange at all that she could defeat Northern Darkness Fish instantly. To be frank, the indolent woman in front of them could be said to be the strongest existence in all of Liangshan continent. Northern Darkness has Fish, you had best turn back from the brink. Emperor Liang shouted. Long Wanxin also said, Fellow Northern Darkness, you must not continue this mistake. This old man has misjudged today's matters. He did not anticipate that the Liao Emperor would not be your opponent. Northern Darkness has Fish cupped his fist, speaking words of righteous speech. Today's alliance with the White Tiger Territory's Demonkin was an action undertaken bt this ancestor alone, having no relation to the most high path. This ancestor asks that Emperor Liang and Long Wanxin let the sect off. As for other matters, this ancestor vows to never stop until he has taken the purple thunder monster's head. You truly are obstinately persisting in the wrong ways. Xinger, reward him with 1,000 gold. Chai Ling stroked the black cat, smirking. The 3-eyed beast opened its mouth and spat out a beam of golden light right at him. Northern Darkness has Fish resentfully glanced at Chai Ling. He struck a ray of extreme clarity immortal light. Then he raised a talisman, escaping from the Crystal Dragon Palace. This old fart is already deranged. Elder sister Kong Ho, why did you not kill him? so as to avoid a long and worry-filled night. Qiling, you ought to first think about yourself. To use the red ink iron certificate at this phase, you have lost your life-protecting item. Kongho rolled her eyes. With elder sister Kongho, what does the red ink iron certificate even count for? Qiling disagreed. Kongho smiled without uttering a word. Gu Tong asked at this moment. Nothing will happen to Su Xing, right? He will be fine. Qiling was not worried in the slightest. This was a man who could attain a heaven-earth dark yellow with Wuxia and Hunyangzi, so having a heaven-earth dark yellow skill with Linning was not strange either. Let alone the might of the good fortune prayer mat. His battle formation included Humi, who had the supreme ultimate diagram. In short, no matter the perspective, Su Xing always was somewhat abnormally strong. An even more important point was that Li Taisui had not used full strength. Perhaps he had his own plan. If things went according to Qiling's predictions, this Li Taisui perhaps would pull Su Xing into their fold. At this time, following the Rock Demon King being repelled by Queen Mother Qixia and Lu Tianya's teamwork, Lady Snake Scorpion being defeated by Shi Jingluan, and using her jade pendant, the Crystal Dragon Palace's intense fighting was already completely still. Only Su Xing's battle against Li Taisui was left in this place. And ever since the beginning of history, the confrontation between the two strongest Star Masters made people endlessly overwhelmed. Leader Star Song Qingci spectated. However, compared to them, her inside was still somewhat not too peaceful. Qingci, are we not taking advantage of this opportunity to kill the Purple Thunder monster? Jin Qiangyu's eyes showed killing intent. We do not want to take advantage of another person's dangers. After Li Shuangfei and the others from the Spring Breeze Drunken Rain Pavilion knew that the Purple Thunder monster's identity was Su Xing, they immediately made their position clear. Elder sisters, you have also seen just how abnormal the Purple Thunder monster is. Right now, other than Lin Chong, no one else by his side can continue battle. If we do not seize the chance to give him a bit of pressure now, it will be difficult to say when another opportunity will present itself later. Sister Qingci, you should not continue to be indecisive about a single Star Master. Guofeng disapproved. Qingci warmly said, Little sisters, do not worry. If we face Su Xing now, there will be no benefits. On the contrary, it will expose our location and become the mortal enemy of the White Tiger territory. Can it be that we are letting go of this opportunity just like this? Jin Qianyu was very indignant. Sun Xingyue shrugged her shoulders. I actually do not think this is an opportunity at all. Before the 3 heavenly books, your servant asks that the sisters hide their strengths and bide time. Song Qingci's tone carried a slightly earnest request. Lady Luan also agrees with Qingci's words. A stern voice came over. All of the girls turned to look. Shi Jingluan and Lu Tianya walked towards them. 9 Tattooed Dragon heard their conversation and agreed with Qingci's judgment. Queen Jingluan. Jingluan, are you all right? Qingci looked at the pair with concern. Tianya, are you well? Lu Tianya hinted he was unharmed. A pity we let Lady Snake Scorpion escape. Shi Jingluan clicked her tongue. What you said just now, Jingluan, can it be that Big Sister Minute Star also fears Lin Chong? Jin Qianyu was stunned. Jin Qianyu, just think this through. When even Strength Star Jade Qilin Lu Xiao is together with this Purple Thunder monster, even if we took action, perhaps this Jade Qilin would not stand by idly. Shi Jingluan calmly said. Jin Qianyu and the other girls looked. As expected, Jade Qilin Lu Xiao sat upon her Qilin, her expression easygoing, but a detailed inspection would reveal that Lu Xiao's eyes were nevertheless full of vigilance. Never expected that even Jade Qilin would also. Jin Qianyu was unable to believe this. If this truly was the case, then the top-notch martial generals Harm Star Wu Song, Hero Star Huarong, Strength Star Jade Qilin, Majestic Star Lin Chong all stood on the Purple Thunder monster's side. Even if Jin Qianyu was any more conceited, she understood that it was impossible for them to defeat Su Xing. Little sister Qianyu, this is incorrect. Qingci consoled her. If little sister Lu Xiao is like this, we can instead bring her to our side. All of the girls showed curiosity. If we take advantage of his Chris now, not only will other sisters hold us in contempt, We may even force Wu Song to sign a contract with Su Xing, so to cast stones at someone at the bottom of the well is to degrade ourselves. The top priority is still to invite little sisters to unite together. So long as we can work together towards our wish of ending the star duels, in the future 7 Stars Assembly, Wu Song and Lu Junyi will definitely stand together with us in friendship. Qingci warmly smiled. Well, I do not think so. Although Jin Qiongyu said this, her overbearing forcefulness from just now had deflated. She gazed at Su Xing, full of indignation. With Siyou joining us, next is that so long as we can convince Ruan Jiner and the other sisters, prepare for the 3 heavenly books, we can then battle the purple thunder monster. Shi Jingluan was very humble towards Yue Ying. I also feel this is acceptable. And let us go now then. So as to avoid drawing suspicion. Seeing that the sisters would no longer discuss matters about Su Xing, Qingci did not know why she breathed a sigh of relief in her heart. How could Jin Qiongyu have known that while she wanted to seize the opportunity for a sneak attack on Su Xing? Little did she know that Qingci wanted to confront Li Taisui. Qingci's heart was complex. She clearly knew that Su Xing would be their great enemy someday, but her heart nevertheless always had a sort of fluke that they perhaps could work together towards Maiden Mountain. Did this kind of fluke originate from the trust of those millennial star generals, or was it because of Su Xing? Qingci herself did not understand. So this is the number 1 prehistoric spirit treasure? Su Xing was astonished to discover that inside the primal chaos, all spiritual power completely vanished. Magic weapons and flying swords lost their usefulness one after another. Even with his life-cast link, he was unable to summon them back. The good fortune prayer mat was only just getting started. Li Taisui benevolently smiled. The good fortune prayer mat spun in the air. Immediately afterwards, that primal chaos shrieked and frothed, wild as boiling foam. The good fortune prayer mat shook. Su Xing and the others' expressions changed as the space around them seemed to be molded by reincarnation. First, space crumbled away, and all energy and spiritual power vanished. A powerful, irresistible and unstoppable fortune energy smashed them to smithereens, as if it was smashing an egg. The yolk, white and eggshells were completely stirred together. In this type of viscous primal chaos, other than star generals the likes of Lin Yingmei who could still maintain combat speed, the Star Master's powers completely disappeared, powerless to continue. Young Master. Lin Yingmei wielded her spear to the limit when she saw this. The Arctic Star Serpent spear burst with a ray of glittering light. Lin Yingmei revolted, the snowy light emission making Lin Yingmei's entire person appear just like a brilliant ice-cold sun. Even the radiance of the sun and moon seemed to freeze. Her long, black hair instantly took on a blue hue, and bits of ice danced around Lin Yingmei's body like fairies. The beautiful sight reduced people to speechlessness. Her hair was like snow, flecked with frost. Upon seeing this anomaly, blue-faced beast Yang Zijin also changed. Ice heart seals sun and moon. Lin Yingmei's spear attacked, and an ice-cold spear light shot straight for Li Taisui. The majestic star's whole body was like snow, chilling to the bone. Dark Star Yang Zijin was worthy of being called the top-notch martial general that had trained in the White Tiger territory. Surpassing Lin Yingmei's extreme realm, blue-faced beast uttered a bestial roar for the first time. Instantly, her blue birthmark seemed to turn crimson, making Yang Zijin's placid as water complexion become a ferocious animal. Emitting a severe aura, Yang Zijin counterattacked. This slash, like 10,000 beasts released from their cages, transmitted 10,000 rays of saber chi that swallowed the heavens and sunk the earth. Shockingly, it was blue-faced beast's earth rank, depleting heaven-shattering earth. The 2 great star generals' earth ranks clashed, disintegrating the surrounding primal chaos, but Su Xing's side still remained trapped. Humi, what are you waiting for? Su Xing coldly shouted. You truly do know what Humi wants. Humi was startled. She faintly smiled, and the girl chanted an incantation. At the same time, she mustered all her power. A picture immediately flew out from within the primal chaos, and unleashed brilliant light. This was none other than the former number 1 magic weapon of the spirit sealing list, the Supreme Ultimate Diagram. Humi raised the Supreme Ultimate Diagram. The void primal chaos released a strange light. Hailed as the famous number 1 prehistoric spirit treasure, the supreme ultimate diagram was known to all in Liangshan continent. This treasure could use softness to overcome strength, countering every type of ability and magic weapon, as well as overriding control as the user's own. Time passed, and countless bloody carnages occurred in contest for the supreme ultimate diagram. In the end, only the cultivator publicly recognized as number 1 in Liangshan continent was allowed to possess it. For the supreme ultimate diagram to appear from the hand of the purple firmament Immortal Palace's star master, Emperor Liang, Long Wanqin and Immortal Outside Heaven each felt flabbergasted. Emperor Liang asked, "Fairy Ho, what is the meaning of this? Is the supreme ultimate diagram not supposed to be with immortal extreme clarity? How is it with your palace?" The purple firmament Immortal Palace's elder fairy, Ho, was also stupefied. She had never heard of this matter before. "It seems after this banquet is over, we must pay a visit to the purple firmament palace master." Emperor Liang was stern, and Long Wanqin and Immortal Outside Heaven were silent. But the supervoid early stage fairy Ho could only comply as a yes man in the face of the ire and commands of the 3 top-notch cultivators. How could she dare say anything? When Humi finally saw that the Spirit Sealing List's number 1 Spirit Treasure Good Fortune Prayer Mat was finally released, she was already impatiently thinking of pitting herself against it. Her hand seals formed, and the Supreme Ultimate Diagram flew towards the Good Fortune Prayer Mat. But since this was the number 1 Spirit Treasure, how could the Supreme Ultimate Diagram ever conquer it? Li Taisui's eyes narrowed, showing a meaningful and strange smile. The power of the Good Fortune Prayer Mat rolled over space, and the Supreme Ultimate Diagram was unable to move an inch closer. Upon seeing that the Supreme Ultimate Diagram was incapable of subduing Li Taisui's spirit treasure, Humi inwardly thought that this was a pity. She immediately changed tactics. The Supreme Ultimate Diagram released several golden bridges. These bridges appeared out of thin air, and no matter how exceptional this primal chaos good fortune was, these golden bridges were unstoppable, extending out to Su Xing's party. Since this was the formerly most powerful spirit treasure, it was naturally not limited to only subduing spirit treasures. In fact, this Supreme Ultimate Golden Bridge was the ability that earned the Supreme Ultimate Diagram the most recognition. This golden bridge could span across all of the mundane world. It could easily dominate any array or space. Under the crushing of the primal chaos, Su Xing and the others immediately stepped onto the Supreme Ultimate Golden Bridge. The heavy pressure immediately vanished. This endless primal chaos was like a black cloud swept aside by the sun, showing a clear day. What a formidable magic weapon! Su Xing praised in his heart. From the moment he dropped into Liangshan continent, he had seen countless magic weapons, yet his heart still was in awe of this. Li Taisui's Good Fortune Prayer Mat, and Humi's Supreme Ultimate Diagram. The pair's magic weapons could be said to make cultivators eye them covetously, endlessly envious. Compared to other star masters, they were far more destitute. Even Su Xing only had the 5 dragons colored glass lantern that could slightly contest. As for just who was stronger, Su Xing was unsure in his heart. In the first head-on clash between the Supreme Ultimate Diagram and the Good Fortune Prayer Mat, the two were even in power. Li Taisui smiled. "Purple Thunder Monster, since you have the title of Purple Thunder, why not take this opportunity to compete against this old man's divine thunder, and see who is superior?" Without waiting for Su Xing's reply, Li Taisui's fingers curled tightly. He opened his mouth, and a bolt of lightning fired straight at Su Xing. This dark-colored lightning pierced through the primal chaos, illuminating space, shooting towards the Supreme Ultimate Golden Bridge without stopping at all. Su Xing, too, wanted to know just how powerful this Li Taisui was. He also used full power to strike with Purple Mansion Immortal Thunder. On the Golden Bridge spanning 100 meters, Li Taisui's Divine Thunder and Su Xing's Purple Mansion Immortal Thunder each displayed abnormal forms. The former was like a creeping beast while the latter was a dragon breaking the heavens. Beast and dragon clashed at the middle of the bridge. Thunderbolts immediately intertwined, viciously rolling about. They surprisingly shook the indestructible bridge to the edge of collapse. If it was not for their position in the Good Fortune Primal Chaos, Perhaps the surplus waves of thunder would have been sufficient to overturn the East Sea. Xing and Li Taisui used their purest star energy to duel. The others could only watch, stupefied, endlessly surprised. 9 generations of star duels is outrageous as expected, to surprisingly have such abnormal star masters. Emperor Liang gasped in admiration. After the 3 heavenly books, we will not be their opponents. This truly is lamentable. We cultivated several hundred years away in order to reach this level now. I never thought the star energy of these star masters could soar into the heavens in one step, just because they signed a contract. Perhaps they will even comprehend transforming Star of Annihilation by relying on their star generals. Long Wanxin pursed her lips, great vacillation in her eyes. When she remembered the matter with northern darkness as fish, her heart felt pain. Immortal outside heaven faintly smiled. Emperor Liang, truly congratulations to you. The Lingyan princess and purple thunder monster have a relationship that is not shallow. It seems that the Lingyan princess will inevitably occupy one spot in the 7 stars assembly, but there can be only one overlord. Emperor Liang, you must properly warn the Lingyan princess to not be confused by the purple thunder monster. Long Wanqing kindly said. Since they participate in the star duels, why should we elders mind their business? With things as they stand, we can wait until these 3 heavenly books. Emperor Liang's eyes showed sternness, his expression not changing. However, this old man is formidable. This immortal has no chance against him. Who knows what the star duels in the future will be like? Immortal outside heaven showed an expression that conceded defeat. The 9th star duels, they should bring about a conclusion. Long Wanqi nodded. The others were silent. Su Xing's 5 fingers curled. 5 bolts of purple mansion immortal thunder once again shot over. Li Taisui also showed a solemn smile across his whole face, changing his calm and composed expression from before. The old man's fingers similarly balled together. Thunderclaps then slammed together. Outsiders already could feel pressure, and the persons involved themselves were even more aware. Su Xing's expression was incomparably grim, currently barely resisting Li Taisui's thunder magic. Li Taisui was inherently a thunder spirit beast. He innately possessed talent with thunder magic. Regardless of how it was put, Su Xing had acquired his training, and he had only trained for these past few days. Besides, Li Taisui's cultivation was higher than Su Xing's by a degree. How could he ward off Li Taisui's attack? Li Taisui's thunder beast was already nibbling away at the purple thunder dragon bit by bit, inching towards Su Xing's sisters. Quickly transfer star energy to Su Xing. When Wu Xinjie saw this, she promptly mobilized. All of his star generals tacitly nodded towards one another, and their foreheads' star crests glowed. Multicolored light pierced through space and flowed into Su Xing's body. The purple thunder dragon's body swelled a size larger, and pushed back against the thunder beast. Hu Mi and Long Nu both felt astonishment when they saw this scene. In history, there had never been such a spectacular scene. The star generals' expressions were all earnest, sending their own star energy to support their star master. In the past records of the star duels, this was very rarely seen. However, thinking carefully, since star masters could resonate their star energy when imbuing their star generals, the reverse was also logical. Little sister Kaiwei, we truly have lost. Zhao Hanyan sighed. Gong Kaiwei was silent. To unexpectedly return support, Siyou, just who is this man? Why do I feel that he is not a person of this world? Outside the primal chaos, hero star Wanyue drew in a deep breath. The Wanyue who received no answer turned her head. When she saw the current Wuxia, she froze. Wuxia did not answer. The cool and elegant woman tightly clenched her fists, her gaze like a tiger, staring straight at Su Xing. A pair of snow-white legs already assumed a posture that was already planning to charge into the primal chaos at a moment's notice. She only needed the necessary moment. Wanyue had no doubts that Wuxia would rush into the array, even using the contract method to aid Su Xing, resuscitating him. He truly is a fortunate man. Wanyue shook her head. The hero star took a deep breath, then exhaled a breath like an arrow. She drew the heaven-earth-sun-moon bow into a full moon. With the eyes of a falcon, she saw through this primal chaos. threw the struggling thunder beast straight to Li Taisui. Power gathered onto Wanyue's bow, collecting all of hero star Little Li Guang's strength. Su Xing's completely unguarded back entered Wanyue's eyes. Several times, she had thought of cutting this man she so despised into thousands of tiny pieces. Currently, Wanyue nevertheless did not have a single bit of hatred. On the contrary, she felt that figure that was barely resisting was more majestic than a mountain. Wanyue. Wuxia summoned Noble Frost Demonic Lotus as she watched Wanyue's movements. The corner of Wanyue's mouth curled into a slight grin. The woman laughed and said, "Milord, to watch this." Bang. Twang. 3 crack. The arrow drew a shocking trajectory as it passed by, flying straight towards Su Xing. The arrow that was seemingly about to stick into Su Xing made Tang Lianxin's expression change. She hastily summoned the Great Void Golden Lotus to defend him. Sensing the boundless killing intent behind him, Su Xing nevertheless was indifferent. He did not take a single step, as if Wanyue's arrow was not fired at him. Wanyue's killing arrow was honestly both fast and unanticipated. The other girls could only stare helplessly, but just when this arrow was about to penetrate Su Xing's back, the arrow suddenly vanished from sight into thin air. The next instant it pierced through Su Xing's chest and emerged, its speed unhindered. With a ripping sound, the arrow tore apart the lightning, shooting unstoppably towards its true target, Li Taisui. Dark rank archery. Heartbreak without a scar. 5 Taisui. Li Taisui was taken aback. He promptly threw out the paper fan in his hand, barely blocking the arrow. Killing intent erupted, raising a stormy wave. At the same time, Su Xing and Li Taisui's 2 bolts of divine thunder dueled with an enormous noise. Crackling, the powerful aftereffect directly crashed into both sides. Su Xing suddenly shuddered, knocked off the golden bridge by the thunderbolts. The bones in his whole body fractured. This old man's thunder magic was indeed incomparably fierce. And Li Taisui was pushed back one tiny step. Although he appeared much more relaxed compared to Su Xing, from the perspective of this top-notch thunder spirit demonkin, this small step was an undoubtedly inconceivable thing. Purple Thunder Monster, why not unite with this old man and attack Maiden Mountain together? With your numerous star generals, it goes without saying that Maiden Mountain and Chaogai will not let you go. Li Taisui's expression was sharp. He howled with laughter as he recalled the good fortune prayer mat. The primal chaos returned to its source, leaving only every type of magic weapon and flying sword that was rid of spiritual power. There is also this little girl who can ally with us as well. Li Taisui did not want to fight any further. He was completely satisfied to have battled in thunder magic with the legendary Purple Thunder Monster. The old man showed a rare expression of interest. "Zijin, Xian Lao, we are leaving." "To where?" Lin Yingmei shouted. Young Zijin was already wounded all over her body. Blue-faced beast blocked her, and then she instantly escaped back to Li Taisui's side. The old man used the jade pendant without any reluctance. Immediately, the group departed from the Crystal Dragon Palace. He left behind only one enticing sentence. "Think it over carefully." "Young lord, are you all right?" Wu Xinjie worriedly stepped forward. Su Xing hurt all over his body, but he generally could still stand. This head of the White Tiger Territory's 7 spirits Li Taisui was very difficult to take on. The Wanyue, who had only just slightly recovered, was once again completely exhausted after using her dark technique. Her eyesight turned dark, and she stumbled forwards. Then she fell against a broad back she had once felt. This feeling, Wanyue opened her eyes and saw Su Xing. Su Xing turned his head back, gently saying to her, "Thank you. I wanted to kill 2 birds with 1 arrow. I merely did not succeed, nothing more. There is no need to say thanks." Wanyue grabbed Su Xing's shoulder. Su Xing thinly smiled. "I'm thanking you for being able to take your servant to be your lord." Wanyue was startled. She suddenly remembered this, and her face could not help but blush. That Milord. Even she did not know why she shouted that out, but seeing the other sisters were deeply devoted to Su Xing, her heart wanted to do something. Thus she inexplicably cried that out. How your love goes unrequited. I only want to kill you." Wanyue pushed Su Xing aside, biting her lip. From far away, a woman in a palace dress watched everything. Zhiyu, now is the time for us to end this banquet. Following Li Taisui leaving the Crystal Dragon Palace in the end, this endless banquet finally concluded. And what should have been the Crystal Dragon Palace's world-famous banquet brought an unprecedented disaster. The majority of the palace had become rubble, crumbling fences and dilapidated walls, corpses strewn as far as the eye could see, and countless treasures scattered everywhere. Every kind of bright light was destroyed under the ruins, numerous, perhaps even countless. The remaining cultivators began a mad pillage. Up until Long Wanxing used her super void might to stop them was order restored. Gazing at what was once the Crystal Palace before it had been disintegrated, Long Wanxing heaved a long sigh. The towering spirit ceiling list was still as lofty as before. Calmly looking at everything, Long Wanxing knew that this 1,000-year treasure banquet had suffered disastrous loss after one battle. If she wanted to recover its former glory, she would perhaps need to waste 100 years. If it was not for Xing's entrance, the Crystal Dragon Palace of the Azure Dragon Territories 3 Palace would perhaps have been destroyed today. Chai Ling's hand held the golden thread feather fan, her eyes misty, her smile charming. At least no one in the Azure Dragon Territory will dare provoke the purple thunder monster anymore. Kong Ho drank wine heedlessly saying, and who would dare? The Azure Dragon Territory's most high path is an example. Chai Ling somewhat understood why Liangshan Continent would fear star generals and Maiden Mountain over the years. However, Su Xing had multiple star generals, and before he had obtained the heavenly books, he had already changed the most high path beyond recognition. If Maiden Mountain was truly infuriated, Liangshan Continent's millions sects would be scattered dust at just a snap of her fingers. Queen Little Whirlwind's heart suddenly wanted to go ascend Maiden Mountain for a look. This palace shall greet Qinger. This one advises you to not go right now. Chao Gai warned. Chai Ling turned her head back, her brow wrinkled. Our banquet has already drawn to a close. However, from the looks of it, your lover's banquet still has one final delicacy. Kong Ho narrowed her eyes, an indolent curve upon her lips. Chai Ling and Gu Tong were stunned. The first Star Duel banquet involving Star Masters across the 4 territories since the beginning of the Star Duels finally ended. This allowed Liangshan Continent's countless cultivators to witness the cruelty and beauty of the Star Duels. For the remaining cultivators that did not leave, they each separated. On one hand, they cleaned the aftermath of the Crystal Dragon Palace, and on the other, they each cast spirited glances at Su Xing. This man who could obtain the accompaniment of multiple top-notch star generals made them envious and jealous. This banquet was bound to become another of the Purple Thunder Monster's indestructible legends that swept across the 4 territories. Su Xing at this moment was not in the mood to mind them. He was currently tending to his wives. Although in their views the Purple Thunder Monster alone had practically warped the situation of the Star Duels, as far as energy consumption in battle was concerned, Su Xing was even distressed over the wives that had fallen into the star nest. Wanyue, truly thank you for being able to aid young lord. Wu Xinjie smiled. That arrow just now was so fantastic. Sure Yuan even thought you wanted to kill Su Xing. In the end, it surprisingly passed right through him without any harm. Sure Yuan patted her chest, and the other girls also agreed. When Hua Wanyue's arrows shot towards Su Xing, all of the girls thought that hero star Little Li Guang wanted to take action against Su Xing. Even Wuxia thought this. Big brother truly believes in sister Wanyue. That is why he did not dodge. The gentle tone of Ensuwen, who was healing Su Xing's wounds, had an additional bit of lingering fear. Perhaps he has already taken the hero star to be his own star general. Zhao Hanyan was slightly jealous. These words made Hua Wanyue very uncomfortable, making everyone laugh. Lingyan princess, why did we not see Dong Junqing this time? Wu Xinjie asked curiously. Up until now, this was strange. With the battle in the Crystal Dragon Palace so chaotic, to unexpectedly not see the 5 Tigers General of Double Spears figure. This honestly was too strange. Wu Xinjie certainly knew that Lily Woman was as inseparable from Zhao Hanyan as her shadow was. You go ask your lord husband. Zhao Hanyan pursed her lips. Wu Xinjie gasped. These words sounded dubious. Tu Dong Junqing was recovering in the dragon boat after losing her virginity, but Su Xing was embarrassed to say this aloud. Lining may help Su Xing out, saying, "Her vitality is greatly wounded and has not recovered yet. Young master has made her rest on the dragon boat. Siyou, why not return to the dragon boat for a proper rest too?" Su Xing saw that Wu Siyou was silent, and he was somewhat hurt to see her worn appearance. "Your concubine 3 is unhurt. Wifey, let's sign a contract right now, don't care about the other superfluous things." Su Xing grabbed Wu Siyou's shoulders and pulled this woman who was as cool and elegant as frost into his embrace. Wu Siyou softly sighed. Her body suddenly felt limp, yet her hand still pushed Su Xing's chest. "Lord husband, please do not make things difficult for your concubine. Wifey, I really am very uneasy when you're like this." Su Xing hugged Wu Siyou tightly, whispering next to her ear. "Since you and I are husband and wife, Siyou, just oblige me. What contract resuscitation? I don't care about that at all." Wu Siyou's face was red. She powerlessly struggled a few times. She felt the surroundings had more than 1,000,000 gazes concentrated upon them. Su Xing moved his lips to kiss Wu Siyou, and Wu Siyou found she was unable to refuse this kind of feeling. Just at this moment, a giant bird soared into the sky suddenly from one place in the palace. Its wings flapped, stirring endless starfire. The powerful spiritual power swept across the entire dragon palace like a tidal wave, jolting most of the cultivators. Seizing this chance, Wu Siyou pushed Su Xing aside. Seeing Su Xing's miserable expression, she wanted to laugh but held it in. "What is happening?" Wu Siyou changed the topic. "Just now that was little Huang." Wu Siyou felt that Rainbow Phoenix was a bit familiar. Su Xing nodded. "You girls stay here." Then he used the blood shadow escape technique, quickly moving away. His speed was so fast it made even Lin Yingmei briefly unable to catch up. If something will embroil us in danger, young Lord loves to use the chaotic tail escape. If we had known this would happen, we should have told young Lord sooner. All of the girls immediately rushed over. "Xinjie, just what is happening to little Huang?" Wu Siyou inquired. "Sister Xinjie is inviting that fairy to enter the boiling pot." Shi Yuan chuckled. "Huh." Xuanla Feifei was stunned at the unforeseen events unfolding before her eyes. A phoenix rushed at Mu Wuyu, and the investigative star was trapped by an array she was unable to break free from, looking on helplessly at the phoenix attacking her. What is happening? Recalling a few moments ago, after Xuanla Feifei saw the purple thunder monster repel Li Taisui, she beckoned Mu Zhiyu and Mu Wuyu to prepare to carry out their deadly assassination against Su Xing. Xuanla Feifei was confident that the purple thunder monster was dead for certain. No Star Master under heaven was capable of fighting off the sneak attack of a pair of assassins and escaping completely unscathed. With Mu Zhiyu and Mu Wuyu's tacit coordination, the current Su Xing, with all his power, was not their opponent. And his star generals had all lost their battle capability, not worth being afraid of. In fact, Xuanla Feifei planned in her mind to have the Mu sisters completely kill all of Su Xing's star generals, and then kill the purple thunder monster at the end. By Xuanla Feifei's reckoning, as long as they killed the majestic star, even if the twins were exposed, there would be no effect at all. Xuanla Feifei's plan had no gaps at all, but the truth nevertheless gave her a cruel blow to the head. The twins had only just slinked away when just at this moment, a rabbit hopped out, soundless. It had concealed itself extremely well, so much so that even Xuanla Feifei had not noticed it. When this black rabbit emerged, two figures appeared at the same time as well. A stone-faced woman pointed with an extended hand, unfolding the 5 elements weather banner in their surroundings. Then a snow-white rabbit hopped out too. This snow-white bunny widened its eyes, and the array that was originally easy to break free from surprisingly immobilized the completely for the moment. And it was at this snap of the fingers. Another girl, petite yet appearing exceedingly refined, moved at that instant. The girl suddenly opened her eyes, and her body was wrapped in flames. Enormous wings of fire sprouted from her back. The magnificent, gem-like flames wrapped her whole body and suddenly brought the girl hurtling towards Mu Wuyu. The flapping wings extended several li in length, With the cry of a phoenix, she was surprisingly like the legendary bird. Absolutely beautiful despair appeared before them. Gongsun Xuanla Feifei shouted. This little girl was none other than Leisure Star Dragon in the clouds Gongsun Huang, and she was using her Earth rank technique. Phoenix Execution Sky Break. From the hidden Black Rabbit, the array that trapped them, up to Gongsun Huang's absolutely beautiful Earth rank, they each were linked one after another, with not even the slightest difference in timing. Everything had been planned flawlessly. How could the Xuanla Feifei who had just been preparing an assassination foresee that she would instead become the prey? Phoenix Execution Skybreak's speed was extremely fast. Gongsun Huang rushed to Mu Wuyu's side in the blink of an eye. Even if she was a previous overlord, against the Earth rank of the number 1 Magic Energy Star General, there was absolutely no way she would remain calm. The leisurely Mu Wuyu had also become grim beyond compare. She raised her double daggers to block. It was already too late now to flee or use her Earth, or even her Heaven rank. Little restrained Mu Wuyu could only defend with her double daggers. In the next instant, faster than even the passage of time itself, Phoenix Execution Sky Break already heavily boomed against Mu Wuyu. The flowing, magnificent flames exploded this instant. Unlike that sort of tenderness from when she threw herself into Su Xing's embrace upon originally comprehending the Earth rank, at this moment, Gongsun Huang's eyes had only extreme detachment and killing intent. All of Phoenix Execution Sky Break's power immediately struck open Mu Wuyu's defenses. The flames washed over every inch of Mu Wuyu's flesh, and she felt her soul roast. A sort of powerful shock wave that was unstoppable was about to burn her away from the inside. Mu Wuyu never expected that the assassination techniques she was so proud of would declare its end before even beginning. At the same time her heart was unresigned, Mu Wuyu displayed the powerful aspects of an overlord star general. Mu Wuyu then resisted with all her strength against the Phoenix Execution Skybreak that could instantly dispatch a supervoid cultivator. At the last moment, she gazed at the incoming girl and crossed her daggers towards the girl without any mercy. Stabbing into Gongsun Huang's body, a baleful aura filled and spilled out of the sabers. The phoenix flames immediately ebbed. The pine-brand ancient sword in Gongsun Huang's hand also bluntly stabbed Mu Wuyu in the heart, not to be outdone in her aggression. "Hey!" Mu Wuyu shouted. Bang! The flames dispersed, and the phoenix was extinguished. Gongsun Huang flew away, for she had no strength left. When her body was about to crash, she was hugged by a person. Little Huang. Su Xing hugged Gongsun Huang tightly. The girl cocked her head and blinked. "Your Highness, leave quickly." The girl shut her eyes, and the leisure star immediately fell into the star nest. Su Xing's heart seemed to rend in pain. He arrived in front of Zhu Sha. "Let's go." Saying this, he pulled Zhu Sha along. This stone-like woman was taken aback. Just as she left, at the spot she had been standing at, an ice-cold dagger tip slashed. Mu Zhiyu suddenly appeared, having landed on nothing. The Three Burrows Crafty Rabbit and the Kasha Rabbit nevertheless were too late to escape, gloriously sacrificing their lives. Wuyu, Mu Zhiyu wanted to pursue for the kill, when she suddenly heard Xuanla Feifei's voice. Worried about her little sister, she turned back. Mu Wuyu's whole body was transparent, her true spirit about to fade away. "Little sister." Mu Zhiyu was emotional. "It is up to you, elder sister." Mu Wuyu smiled, and her true spirit dissipated. Mu Zhiyu turned her head, staring at the Su Xing 100 ma away. Her calm eyes suddenly burst forth with terrifying murderous intent. Su Xing's heart chilled. This is bad. The last assassin Mu Zhiyu became a shadow that pursued them. A star general that had become an overlord was no laughing matter. She instantly arrived in front of Su Xing, the double daggers in her hands spilling her killing intent, woven like silk. Su Xing held Zhu Sha in one hand while he wielded the 1,000-year divine sword in the other. He relied on those innate skills that were not inferior to a star general's in order to block with the sword. He once again used an escape technique and fled instantly 100 meters away. Mu Zhiyu changed from her previously heedless attitude. She was savage and cruel to the extreme. After her first strike missed, the investigative star's figure vanished into thin air. Su Xing's escape technique stopped, and without time to draw breath, a sharp wind entered his ear. Zhiyu suddenly reappeared next to him like a ghost, her twin daggers stabbing directly at Zhu Sha's back. Su Xing was startled. He grit his teeth and activated the chaotic tail escape. His skin cracked, blood spattered, and he disappeared once again. This time, he fled several dozen li away. Su Xing did not stop, continuing to escape several times. If you can't win, then run. Against an overlord-level star general, Su Xing did not have any arrogant thoughts about testing his strength. Several consecutive chaotic tail escapes later, he made all of the Crystal Dragon Palace's cultivators, including Emperor Liang, stare dumbstruck. Bloodlight flashed by above them, the speed extremely quick. Several blinks later, it had traveled the entire palace. Su Xing's whole body hurt as he grimaced and stopped. The chaotic tail escape's side effects really were a bit severe. If he could, Su Xing honestly did not want to use this kind of self-harm technique. Su Xing spread open his divine intent, scanning in all direction. But he had taken only a single breath when a chilling knife point once again whistled past his ear. Zhiyu once again appeared. Fuck, she really is like a dead soul lingering about. Su Xing was startled. This speed was unavoidably too fast for her to even be able to catch up. How could Su Xing have known that this was indeed Zhiyu's Earth rank assassination? Dead soul lingering about. This dagger stabbed into Su Xing's chest, but when the second dagger attacked, Su Xing's palm fired Purple Mansion Immortal Thunder, only then blasting Zhiyu away. I will kill all of you to avenge little sister. Zhiyu fiddled with her daggers, her face cold. Put me down. Zhu Sha felt a powerful force constrict her waist. Even the stone-faced earthly leader star could not help but feel a bit strange. Su Xing did not mind her and snapped his fingers, then unleashing Purple Mansion Immortal Thunder. An assassin's most threatening time was only while she was hidden. Since she had been exposed, her threat level had been reduced by half. Zhiyu spun, flashing to Su Xing's flank. Her stabs were directed towards Zhu Sha's chest. Dark rank assassination. Departing. 2. At this moment, the chaotic tail escape already could not longer be used. Su Xing hugged Zhu Sha and instantly spun around without thinking, using his body as a shield. The meditative mind lotus seed simultaneously opened, and he used the Akala Wisdom King chant. One dagger stabbed into his lung, immensely painful. With Su Xing's meditative mind lotus seed protecting his body and the Wisdom King chant's powerful corporeal body, he was only barely able to blink. Su Xing then opened his mouth and fired the rock-piercing water droplets. It was regrettable that his flying swords had lost their spiritual power and were incapable of use for the time being, otherwise he could not be cutting such a sorry figure. Zhiyu's dagger cut down the rock-piercing water droplets. She stared at Su Xing this time, not in a hurry to attack. This leader star is not your star general. Why did you rescue her? Zhiyu gloomily said. If it was not for Su Xing's body block just now, her departing just now would have pierced through the resourceful strategist's lungs and made her fall into the star nest. But how could Zhiyu expect that the purple thunder monster would go against common sense and surprisingly protect her? In Zhiyu's reckoning, this was simply unreasonable. She had thought that Su Xing grabbed the resourceful strategist to use as a meat shield. A fleeting emotional reaction flickered in Zhu Sha's eyes, but it very quickly vanished. The woman recovered her stone-faced expressionlessness. Her hand pointed, and she used her yellow technique, Mountains and Rivers Array. 3. The 5 elements weather banner flapped, surrounding Zhiyu. How could this yellow technique trap Zhiyu? The assassin leapt high then descended like a vulture, her daggers like talons, showing her abilities. What she said is right. You and I are total strangers. Quickly put me down. Zhu Sha said. Without her, Su Xing clearly would be more free. I have my own ethics. Su Xing coolly said. Not being able to save little Huang already made him exceptionally distressed, and then to see Zhu Sha die would always be impossible for him. After all, she also had taken action for his sake against the third-generation star general. Hey! Zhiyu's body techniques were swift as lightning, her double daggers stabbing out a ray of cold light. Just at this moment, a dragon-like yet also phoenix-like cry came from the sky. A giant shadow descended from the heavens, and a mocking voice sounded out. This man does not understand romance. Elder sister and this general should spend some loving time together. Zhiyu raised her head and looked. A dragon-like and phoenix-like star beast spread its wings and swooped down upon her, sizzling spirit flames spurting out. Void Dragon False Phoenix. The investigative star charged forth to face it, crossing her double daggers. Dagger chi shot in all directions, constricting the Void Dragon False Phoenix. Dong Junqing was taken aback and retracted her frivolous expression. She dodged away, and the Void Dragon False Phoenix was slain by Zhiyu. You quickly go rescue her. This was the first time she was embraced by a man. Evidently, even if Zhu Sha was somewhat not unrestrained, to be frank, her tone did not have her normal stiffness. You quickly leave. Su Xing did not hesitate at all. In midair, Zhiyu spied Dong Junqing. Her eyes were gloomy, and then she turned to attack. However, along the way, she was already intercepted by Su Xing, heaven-shaking stillness hand. As Su Xing's palm swept over, the purple mansion Immortal Thunder became a giant palm that swatted at Zhiyu. The top-notch assassin ignored this attack and suddenly vanished before Su Xing's eyes. Su Xing's hands pinched together, forming a giant purple thunder net. Rip! The thunder net tore open, and a black shadow appeared. What a troublesome assassin! Su Xing was being suppressed to the point he could not catch his breath. But Dong Junqing, who had lost her virginity, was completely powerless to escape. He could only defend her front, to stall for as much time as possible. Hey! A shout like breaking snow broke up from the ground. Linning finally rushed over. No matter the time, she was always the one person that Su Xing's heart was most relieved over. The majestic star's Arctic Star Serpent Spear hacked downwards. The ice-cold killing intent on the spear swept extremely quickly, directly knocking Zhiyu aside. Then her beautiful figure dashed and attacked Zhiyu. Although she did not have the majestic star's level of martial force, any way it was put, Zhiyu had a realm that the Linning in front of her did not. The assassin caught her attack without being lenient. Zhiyu's double daggers caught the spear. Immediately afterwards, the assassin flashed away, disappearing and then reappearing. She broke away from Linning Mei's attack range. An assassin's attacks eternally drifted, incapable of refinement. Very quickly, she suddenly appeared beside Su Xing. Her weapon just like a fish back in water. A butterfly fluttering through a garden. At the same time, with her wrist as the center, a swift and powerful arc of wind suddenly appeared, shooting out with frightening speed. The incorporeal force became substantive. Su Xing's body slightly rocked. She once again approached with high speed. He had barely avoided that oppressive dagger tip, but an even more slimmer dagger shadow already covered him. Completely soundless, the attack was hidden like this. Su Xing's figure immediately recoiled backwards, but the dagger in front of him followed him like a shadow. Those glinting lights surprisingly accelerated the instant they throbbed. Zhiyu surprisingly could still maintain this speed while attacking. This was completely outside of Su Xing's expectations. Under an attack like this, Su Xing could only dodge at the last moment. The two were locked in a pursuit, moving like the swift wind. After several moments, there unexpectedly was no place to retreat. Bang! A light arrow that carved open space passed between Su Xing and Zhiyu, cutting off the assassin's finisher. Wanyue drew her bow from afar. Although this arrow was ordinary and unremarkable, it succeeded in giving Zhiyu an obstruction. Then, a cool and elegant silhouette suddenly appeared beside Zhiyu. Wuxia also used all of her strength. Noble Frost Demonic Lotus slashed. Zhiyu had only just caught Wuxia's sword when a pinprick of cold light descended like a star. Linning had very quickly rushed over. Linning and Wuxia coordinated their attacks, and there was also the hero star Wanyue fired arrows from behind. Against the perfect teamwork of three top-notch martial generals, even Zhiyu was unable to last. She could only barely ward off the blows. After all, she was an assassin. In a direct confrontation, Zhiyu began to grow conflicted. Without hesitating any further, she grit her teeth and suddenly spun around. She abruptly disappeared in midair. Her daggers whistled sharply through the air. With an ear-piercing clang, at some unknown time, Zhiyu had completely wielded her superb combat level. Her battle strength was aroused, and she suddenly already cut apart all of the attacks by Lin Yingmei and Wuxia's weapons. Zhiyu then withdrew. As her Star Master, Xuanla Feifei currently had not appeared. Evidently, she was being held up. Investigative Star, you have already been exposed. Why not end things here? Lin Yingmei gripped her spear in one hand, sternly speaking. Zhiyu looked around at the Star Generals present. In the end, her gaze fixed onto Su Xing. The woman used a soft, sing-songy and graceful tone to say, "You all can see the foolishness of your own Star Master. He surprisingly would protect Star Generals not his own. Is such a Star Master worthy of your companionship?" How could she have expected that Lin Yingmei and Wuxia would instead smile? "Humph, you are Star Generals in the Star Duels, yet you act impetuously. Today allows you to give you all a lesson." Zhiyu's arms spread open. She took several deep breaths, her towering chest rising and falling indefinitely like waves. She continued her breathing, her daggers hovering, gently entering her grip. The tranquility was somewhat frightening. "Not good, this is a heaven rank technique." Dong Junqing shouted. Heaven rank Su Xing was stunned. Lin Yingmei Wuxia quickly stopped her. "You absolutely cannot allow her to use her heaven rank technique." Dong Junqing extremely urgently screamed. All of the Star Generals instinctively sensed the might of a heaven rank. In Liangshan Continent's records, they could shake all under heaven when they appeared. A heaven rank technique could only be withstood by a true Phoenix Realm Star General. If they allowed Zhiyu to use her heaven rank, the consequences would be unthinkable. "You quickly leave," Dong Junqing hastily shouted. "No can do." How could Su Xing let Lin Yingmei and the others go? Endless murderous intent began to surge, flowing about Su Xing's surroundings. Zhiyu's heaven rank was in the middle of charging, but it surprisingly had such powerful strength. Once used, it was unimaginable just how terrifying it would be. Lin Yingmei and Wuxia promptly wanted to stop her. A heaven rank technique's greatest flaw was perhaps that it required a very long charge time in order to focus the Star General's star energy. During this time, the Star General was very weak. But Zhiyu's figure had suddenly vanished, moving in the surrounding shadows. Without a sensory Star General, there was no way they could discern her location. There has never been a person who could escape Zhiyu's heaven rank assassination. Murderous intent fills mountains, rivers. Purple thunder monster. Guess who will be the first to die this time? Zhiyu's leisurely voice echoed in empty space, her killing intent everywhere. "I'm guessing it's you." Suddenly, the flaring murderous intent was doused by ice water. The shadows gathered together, and Zhiyu suddenly appeared out of thin air. The girl stared in disbelief at a dagger that had pierced straight through her chest. This dagger was sudden and completely unforeseen. Even Su Xing and Lin Yingmei did not react in time. "Little sister." Zhiyu's voice shuddered. She turned her head back to see Guardian Star Little restrained Mu Duang's cold eyes. Mu Duang? Su Xing thought he was seeing things. That airhead assassin that he remembered surprisingly appeared suddenly to end the investigative star's heaven rank assassination. Zhiyu had actually already sensed that Mu Duang was nearby, but her deeply conservative thinking made Zhiyu feel that Mu Duang was perhaps thinking of finding an opportunity to assassinate the Purple Thunder monster. It was not incorrect for her to think this. The Purple Thunder monster's strength was immense. Any Star Master or Star General could be considered an overlord if they killed him. From the perspective of Mu Duang's contract-less power, there was not time to wait. So Zhiyu allowed Mu Duang to draw near, even use her voice to distract Su Xing, but the investigative star never imagined this dim-witted assassin's objective was actually herself. Hearing Su Xing shout, Zhiyu suddenly had the realization. This Purple Thunder monster truly was abnormal. It turned out that he had all along even bewitched the Guardian Star. Very good, this is what a true assassination is. Zhiyu's killing intent dispersed. She dropped her daggers and wore a satisfied expression. As a top-notch assassin, she had to maintain absolute vigilance at all times. This was the final lesson she could teach. "Ah, sorry, elder sister Zhiyu. Mu Duang seemed as if she had awakened from a dream. Her grim pupils recovered their normal dim-wittedness. Upon seeing her own daggers poking out of this overlord elder sister, little restrained was startled. She hastily drew out the daggers. This action brought a burst of pain, making Mu Zhiyu's attempt at a counterattack also finally end. Then the heaven rank crumbled. Lin Yingmei and Wuxia gave her no chance. With one in front and the other in back, their weapons each pierced through Mu Zhiyu, and Wanyue's arrow also punched through Mu Zhiyu's throat. This truly is unsightly. Hush Wanla, Zhiyu is unable to help you anymore. Harboring one last thought, Mu Zhiyu's head drooped, and her true spirit vanished. The third-generation overlords, the two great assassins, immediately ended their quest for revival. Darling Su Xing, you truly flirt everywhere, to have even seduced a guardian star. The limp and powerless Dong Junqing lay on Su Xing's back, her tone frivolous. She sized up Mu Duang. To be honest, the figure of the girl in front of her was not bad, just a bit young. A pair of large eyes with a sort of dull blankness gave her the impression she was airhead. It was to be expected if she had truly been enticed by Su Xing. Wuxia raised her brows when she saw her intimate manner. Dong Junqing, you should be waiting obediently aboard the dragon boat. Su Xing said bluntly. As a Five Tigers general, she was the target of an unknown number of people. Without any energy, she was practically courting death. She was nearly killed by Mu Zhiyu just now. Dong Junqing ambiguously smiled. Duang, truly thank you. No need. Mu Duang showed vexation. This lady did not expect that elder sister Zhiyu would be killed. Originally, this lady only wanted to make elder sister not use her heaven rank, but elder sister seemed unguarded. This lady truly did not intend for that to happen. Wuxia was speechless. In her mind, she said, you are both assassins. She naturally thought you were helping her. Anyone else would have thought the same. Especially when Mu Duang had been very obediently receiving Zhiyu's assassin lessons before this. Heaven knew this airhead assassin would commit such a universally shocking act. Perhaps it was only Mu Duang who did not care for pure benefit that would do such a thing. Lin Yingmei and Wuxia stared at each other. They could not help but greatly increase their favorability towards this little sister in front of them. There is also one Xuanla Feifei. Let's go. Su Xing said. Play upon Mount Yao, Phoenix returns to nest. Flying swords circled around in the air, like tens of thousands of birds returning to the forest, chirping. Ascending and descending, countless flying swords flocked about. The knowledge star resourceful star Wuxinji blinked, waving her heaven-concealing stars fan. Up until now Wuxinjia had not used her earth rank. It was for this moment now that she used her earth rank. The stars have moved. Bright starlight swirled in the sky, knocking back all of the flying swords, making Xuanla Feifei cut an exceptionally sorry figure. Hua Shui used dazzling light mind image, its two eyes glowing with white light as it moved toward Xuanla Feifei. The 8 gates black gold chains slithered like snakes in the air. The dark technique bind silk before rain immediately followed. Everything was within Wu Xinjia's calculations. Xuanla Feifei, who had her flying swords repelled, was bound by the 8 gates black gold chains, like a delicate butterfly ensnared by a giant web. Knowledge star. How is it that you discovered us? Their loss already determined, Xuanla Feifei instead calmed down. The woman coldly stared at the slightly coquettish Wu Xinjia, indignant. Because she had the Mu sister assassins, Xuanla Feifei was always accustomed to using assassinations when they were least expected, and this maneuver was time-tested. In the past star duels, Xuanla Feifei often would strike at the moment the enemy was most careless. Even top-notch martial generals were unable to put up a defense. Even Long Fei had died to this, and his 5-tiger general fiery thunderbolt Qin Wenjun, too, the strongest star general in that era's star duels, had died. The Xuanla Feifei, who was accustomed to being the hunter, had never imagined she would have a day like this. This is honestly very simple. Wu Xinjia replied matter-of-factly. The Tai spherical heaven form array exposed all star generals, so Xinjia formulated a plan back then. Xuanla Feifei suddenly understood. When the enemy was an assassin, the greatest threat was not her overlord status. Rather, it was the lack of any sign of the assassin, their ability to appear and disappear to execute their assassination. And it was a great taboo for an assassin to be exposed before the assassination. You unexpectedly exploited this array. Xuanla Feifei sighed. All of the star generals had bitterly resisted under the array, while they were seeking a chance to live. This knowledge star was surprisingly thinking of a way to exploit this array to find her whereabouts. Actually, even without this array, Xinjie had planned to take action against you during the banquet. Wu Xinjie softly chuckled. In front of Xuanla Feifei's skepticism, the knowledge star explained. The treasure banquet is Liangshan continent's premier banquet. 3 generations of overlords had revived in Liangshan. It was inevitable they would not miss such a thing. With the exceptional air of their star generals, only a little bit of detailed investigation was needed to reveal them. In other words, when Xuanla Feifei was still planning to kill other, stronger people, her final act had already been decided at this place by the knowledge star. Fairy Xuanla snickered at herself. The knowledge star is truly gracious with her assessment. Fortunately, the third knowledge star was not you, otherwise, this fairy would truly have had no chance. Sister Xinjie, don't waste your breath on her. Shi Yuan waved the puppet banner, summoning the 5 poisons puppet. Xuanla Feifei renounced resistance. She lifted her head to smile at Chao Gai. It seems Maiden Mountain has very big troubles. Boom. Fairy Xuanla left the stage. When Su Xing rushed over, he just happened to catch sight of Wu Xinjie already cleaning up. That Su Xing was unhurt. Wu Xinjie breathed a sigh of relief. Things seemed as she had anticipated. Although she had planned to face the assassin, twin star general assassins were honestly too powerful. Little Huang had killed one at the most, and the remaining one would inevitably be infuriated. However, because of Lining Mei Wuxia and Hua Wanyue's coordination, things were under control. And the heaven rank problem that Wu Xinjie had worried about most appeared to not have manifested. Now it seems that the purple thunder monster apparently has enormous troubles. When other people caught sight of this scene, low-level cultivators could not see the reason why, but high-level cultivators like Emperor Liang could see clearly. Just a little bit of pondering was needed to understand what was happening. Long Wanqin sighed, feeling this was logical. The purple thunder monster is too mysterious. Up until now, no one has discovered which sect he hails from. To surprisingly contract so many star generals, Maiden Mountain naturally will not let him go. Emperor Liang, you had better remind your daughter to not walk too close to him. Immortal outside heaven indifferently said. Maiden Mountain will not let the purple thunder monster go. If they are involved, your daughter perhaps will draw fire to herself. Emperor Liang seemed to ponder. Compared to her earlier warning, this time, Emperor Liang appeared to be not so forthright to allow his daughter to go make her own decisions. Just why these star duels would be so different, we actually are somewhat curious. We should actually investigate clearly just what the purple thunder monster's identity is. If Long Wanqin's tone showed a bit of detachment. The Crystal Dragon Palace had sustained an absurd level of loss and destruction. This master of the Dragon Palace was somewhat contemplating killing the purple thunder monster for emergency relief. However, this was only a thought. She currently felt that she ought to thank the heavens that the purple thunder monster was not demanding her bright moon ring. Long Wanqin's words received their tacit recognition. The Most High Path has mutinied. We must quickly convene an Alliance of 10 conference to redesignate the Azure Dragon Territory's 10 sects, to reignite the morale of the Azure Dragon Territory's cultivators. Emperor Liang, what do you feel? Immortal outside heaven asked. Then set it for 10 days afterwards. Emperor Liang said. Fine. As the Azure Dragon Territory's top-notch cultivators were negotiating, suddenly at this moment, a scene that stunned countless cultivators occurred. Junqing, why have you come out? Zhao Hanyan looked at Dong Junqing and scolded her. Princess Highness, if it was not for this general, our man would have died together in the name of love protecting the immortal hero Princess Zhu Sha. Dong Junqing licked her chapped lips, embellishing her replies. The 5 Tigers General Dong Junqing's phrase our man made Su Xing's other wives stupefied. Dong Junqing, what is the meaning of this, huh? When was Su Xing your man, humph? Shi Yuan asked. Darling Su Xing, Did you not feel good when this general and princess served you together? Dong Junqing said outright. The Lingyan princess face turned red. These words honestly were too outrageous. Wu Xingjia's mouth hung open in shock. Young lord, could it be you? It's a long story and there's a reason. Su Xing promptly explained. Mei Suwen, did you already know? Wu Xingjia blinked. And Suwen's face blushed as she lowered her head. Lin Mei grunted in affirmation. Even Wu Xingjia had never imagined that Su Xing would unexpectedly initiate a husband and wife relationship with Dong Junqing. It seemed that she was still too conservative. Wu Xiao's heart was somewhat uncomfortable, and she turned to leave. Wifey. Su Xing immediately ran after her. Hubby, is something the matter? Wu Xiao expressionlessly said. It seemed she had returned to that coldness that rejected everyone from when they first met. However, for her to still call Su Xing by that hubby they had agreed on earlier, there was still a chance. Su Xing stared at Wu Xiao for a time, not knowing what to say. An apology would clearly hurt Dong Junqing's heart, and not apologizing would generally be taking things too far. If it was Su Xing with the other wives, Wu Xiao would not have minded. But to suddenly hear that he was surprisingly with another Star Master's Star General, this sort of sudden shock made her a bit unable to accept this. If there is nothing, your concubine has other matters to attend to. The other sisters will have to look after hubby. Wu Xiao calmly replied. There is something. Su Xing seriously said. What is that? Wu Xiao was like a dry well. Xiao, marry me. Su Xing was very serious. Wu Xiao was taken aback. Marry me, for as long as you are willing. Su Xing seized Wu Xiao's shoulders, drawing the woman over. Wu Xiao gasped, but Su Xing already lowered his head and kissed her red lips. What? Wu Xiao's eyes widened. Su Xing passionately kissed her red lips, sucking in her fragrant scent. His hands tightly embraced her, afraid she would leave. His endless feelings spread throughout Wu Xiao's whole body, like an electric current. Wu Xiao's body went limp, and she moaned, firmly guarding the last bit of logic in her mind. But Su Xing kissed even more intensely. With her saliva and soft lips, he could not help but extend his tongue into the beauty's mouth, wantonly stirring about, unwilling to give up. Wu Xiao wanted to push him away, yet she found she was unable to resist his tenderness. In her mind, she was at a loss and helpless. For a while afterwards she was trapped, and then she unwittingly kissed back. It seemed as if she had forgotten the surrounding sisters, the surrounding cultivators' stupefied expressions. These two people seemed to be the only existences in the entire world. Lord husband Wu Xiao's heart was increasingly tender. Her slender, white fingers firmly grasped Su Xing's sleeves, and Su Xing hugged even tighter. His intense male qi enveloped her whole body, and when her butt was nearly infringed upon by Su Xing's large hand, her heart could not help but throb. Her jade arms wound like snakes around Su Xing's neck, and her tongue writhed in his mouth like a serpent. Gradually, Wu Xiao's eyes were increasingly unfocused yet increasingly clear. Wu Xiao completely fell. Under Su Xing's gentle kiss, she set aside all her burdens. She did not want to think about anything anymore, and her mind held only one thought. Then your concubine shall oblige you. The curtain fell on the banquet. Star crests were engraved on Su Xing and Wu Xiao's respective foreheads, and a crimson star twinkled in the sky. The Crystal Dragon Palace fell into an unprecedented shock this instant. Nobody had ever imagined that they would see an unforgettable scene at the end of the Crystal Dragon Palace's treasure banquet. Harm Star Wusong has unexpectedly signed a contract. This is the legendary kiss contract of the Star Duel Covenants. Just who is he, to surprisingly receive Wusong? In 9 star duels, nearly 1,000 years, she has never signed a contract? I do not see Lin Chong. Are they all the Purple Thunder Monster's star generals? Wusong definitely would follow him, but I never expected she would surprisingly sign a contract now. And to be a kiss contract. This is too abnormal. Countless shuddering voices endlessly echoed in the Crystal Dragon Palace. Not a single person was able to maintain their calm. Even top-notch cultivators like Emperor Liang felt nearly suffocated. Wusong. Harm Star Pilgrim Wusong. surprisingly signed a 1,000-year contract right before their eyes. Not a single person remained calm, and no one was not envious. Emperor Liang's first reaction was to look at Chao Gai. Thousand Buddha star Chao Gai showed an odd expression, as if her face was submerged in water. How can these star duels still be fought? That purple thunder monster is already treating the star generals as his harem. And they are all top-notch star generals. This is too strange. Amidst the countless discussions, Chao Gai still was as calm as water. The sole other person who maintained calm, Kong Ho, raised her brow when she saw this scene, pursing her lips into a smile as she muttered, "Faint for a millennium must be this." Noble star little whirlwind Chai Ling used her feather fan to hide her disdainful expression as she gently bit her red lips. To surprisingly sign a contract in front of everyone under heaven. This honestly was the style of contract that this palace most wanted. Noble star you? Gutong thought that she had misheard. The noble star's implication clearly said she was willing to sign a contract with Su Xing. Do you not wish to sign a contract with him? Chai Ling teased. Gutong shook her head. Chai Ling's smile was even wider. How could she not know what she was worried about? If she truly did not have any yearning for Su Xing, she would have already joined Qingci's uprising. Gutong, do you want to return with this palace? This palace does not wish to watch this any longer. Master. Mu Qingying gripped her double daggers, emerging from the shadows, and walked to Bing Qingshuan's side. Bing Qingxian gazed at that sight that was rare to see in 1,000 years. Although he strained his hardest to feign an expression of coldness, the fury in his eyes nevertheless betrayed his envy. Damn it, why can this purple thunder monster contract Wusong? Master, do we need to take action? Mu Qingying monotonously asked. There is no chance now. Bing Qingshuan's gaze once again fell on Mu Duang. He coldly said, Qingying, your little sister truly is brain dead. She surprisingly went to help the purple thunder monster. Perhaps she will fall into this monster's clutches sooner or later. Master, what do you want to do? Mu Qingying followed obediently. Let us go. By the time of the 3 heavenly books, we should make the world recognize our might. As you bid. Mu Qingying vanished. Purple thunder monster. This moment lasted as long as a century, yet it also passed as quickly as a second, an instant. When Su Xing finished this passionate kiss, Wuxia had not returned to her senses. She stared at the star crest on Su Xing's forehead, and all sorts of feelings welled up in Wuxia's heart. Breaking the harm star's 1,000-year oath to not sign a contract, Wuxia's heart suddenly had a kind of unprecedented gentleness. As it turned out, breaking that oath was not so severe at all. Lord husband, you have wasted a chance. Wuxia softly said. Your lord husband has never thought of using that kind of chance. Su Xing smiled and said. Wuxia was very fond of Su Xing's self-confidence and could not help but nod her head. Elder sister Siyou, you should have signed a contract long ago. Shi Yuan giggled. You and Su Xing have called each other husband and wife for so long, yet we haven't. Wuxia gazed at Linning Mei. Linning Mei showed a sincere smile, a kind of expression that had long looked forward to this. Wanyue, hopefully you can also come together with us and finally end this situation of mutual slaughter between sisters. Wu Xinjie took this chance to entice the nearby dumbfounded Hua Wanyue. Hua Wanyue did not know how to reply. To personally see Wuxia sign a contract, this sort of blow was even more sudden, and left her at an even greater loss than she had imagined. These cultivators are truly noisy. Wuxia wrinkled her brow, completely recovering her normal harm star domineering aura. Her cold and elegant killing intent spread in all directions, and all conversations immediately froze and faded. Let us talk at some other place. Zhao Hanyan said. I have a place. Su Xing slightly smiled and extended a hand. A bright, full moon's radiance appeared above the crystal dragon palace. Then, a magnificent palace that was hidden in mist vaguely appeared. There was a multitude of halls, piled up with white jade, palaces of cassia trees, bejeweled buildings, flowing waters and wafting mists. When this palace appeared, the crystal dragon palaces remaining originally grandiose and splendid crystal halls immediately paled by comparison, overshadowed. The Bright Moon Longevity Palace? Waves of shock made the cultivators present unable to process this scene. This is the legendary Longevity Palace? You actually obtained it. This princess actually wants to take a look. Zhao Hanyan's eyes lit up. Without any politeness, she grabbed Dong Junqing and flew into the Longevity Palace. Afterwards, the other girls entered the palace in succession. Su Xing had originally wanted to call Chai Ling, but at this time, Chai Ling and Chao Gai were nowhere to be seen. Do you want to come in? Su Xing asked the dumbstruck who Mi and Long knew. In any case, they worked together to face Li Taisui. In the future, they perhaps would need to ally again. Are you not afraid that Hu Mi will cultivate the longevity chant from the Longevity Palace? Hu Mi asked. Your choice. Su Xing was not very concerned. To cultivate the Longevity Palace's longevity chant would need more than a few days, and there was no threat at all. Hu Mi's eyes rolled, and she thinly smiled. No wonder the Lingyan princess and immortal hero princess would be so moved by you. As expected, you are generous. Then Hu Mi shall not be modest. Her figure leapt and entered the palace as a purple light. Long Nu initially wanted to decline, however, at this time, her mother's voice entered her mind. Hesitating a moment, she also could not help but have a girl's curiosity and entered the Longevity Palace. By the time Su Xing went into the palace, the Bright Moon Longevity Palace's spiritual power burst. Then it immediately vanished from this place. Fortunately, this purple thunder monster wants to ascend Maiden Mountain. With him here, we have no foothold in this place at all. Immortal Outside Heaven said in displeasure. We also wanted to look at this Longevity Palace. What a pity that he unexpectedly forgot about us, his father-in-law. Emperor Liang laughed and said, Did you not see the purple thunder monster bribe the purple firmament Immortal Palace's star master? He is but a meticulous schemer. You had best not be swindled by him. Since he is participating in the star duels, what need is there for us to go worry about him? Emperor Liang paused. He said profoundly to the two of them. So long as they can obtain the heavenly book, do you honestly care just who the overlord of the star duels is? Immortal Outside Heaven and Long Wanxin were silent. To be frank, we have also racked our brains for schemes. Continuous and unending spiritual power covered the entire palace. Even if they did not circulate their qi, they could clearly sense the pulsations in their bodies. Zhao Hanyan and Gong Kaiwei did not hesitate to begin harmonizing themselves. Hu Mi and Long Nu were slightly hesitant. This place was the purple thunder monster's domain. If while they were harmonizing he suddenly acted against them, they would not be able to run. Hu Mi arrived in front of an immense stone slab. Its surface was covered in tadpole-sized characters, emitting a golden luster. Upon careful inspection, this was astonishingly the Bright Moon Longevity chant. However, this cultivation method's contents were too massive. She tried to practice it, but it was endless. It would perhaps take many years to be able to memorize it. Hu Mi also tried to record it onto a jade strip, but there was no response at all. No wonder the purple thunder monster was so relaxed. This longevity steal was not simple at all. A few years perhaps amounted to nothing for other cultivators, but to a star master, this was time they did not have. Now that the 3 heavenly books was about to commence, there was already no time to cultivate it. Hu Mi clicked her tongue in regret and explored the other palaces. When she returned, she found that Long Nu had begun to meditate. Therefore, she also harmonized as well. The two of them did not linger in the Longevity Palace for too long. Their relationships with Su Xing were not deep like Zhao Hanyan and Gong Saiwei's were. To stay for too long would instead be a bit strange. The next day, they took their leave from the Longevity Palace. On this day, just as Su Xing was sparring with Lin Yingmei and Wuxia in martial arts as usual, Zhao Hanyan walked over and asked, Su Xing, what are you preparing to do next? I plan on returning to the Four Styles School. Su Xing thought. The Most High Path has mutinied. The Azure Dragon territory will need to reappoint the Alliance of 10. Will you represent the Four Styles School in battle? If that is truly the case, the Four Styles School will become the Four Styles Path. Zhao Hanyan smiled and said, 2. I'll have to see what Master says. Su Xing was indifferent. Master? Ha, ha, no one in the Four Styles school could exceed your cultivation. To make a supervoid cultivator, call a supercluster cultivator senior. Who in the world would do such a thing? Once a teacher, always a teacher. Su Xing was undisturbed. This princess man is outstanding, as expected. After they chatted a while, Gong Kaiwei and Zhu Sha also approached, preparing to take their leave. The coming 3 heavenly books was about to begin. All star masters would begin to prepare for this last phase that they could bolster their strength in. And this stage was what all sects placed the most importance upon. Zhao Hanyan and Gong Kaiwei would also need to prepare. Immortal Hero Princess, do you know where we can obtain 10,000-year black ice? Wu Xinjie suddenly recalled the matter of Su Xing's water element flying swords. The Heavenly Ice Holy Palace was situated in the coldest place in the Azure Dragon territories north. As the Extreme Ice Holy Palace's disciple, she perhaps would know something. Are you forging the water element flying sword? Gong Kaiwei asked. Li Taisui is very strong, so I wanted to take this chance to completely forge the 5 elements flying swords as early as possible. Su Xing calculated. By the time he forged the sword array of the Heavenly Spirit Earthly Fiend Purple Star 5 elements swords, he would somewhat have a chance facing Li Taisui. It seems you still lack the fire element? Zhao Hanyan said. For the fire element, I have a vermilion Jian map. I'm preparing to go look in the White Tiger territory. I should be able to find something. You are honestly exceptional. The Heavenly Spirit Earthly Fiend Purple Star 5 elements flying swords will be able to be truly forged. Dong Junqing twitched her mouth. It was an ancient sword chant, and he also had top-notch star generals. If it was not for Dong Junqing knowing Su Xing's background, she would not believe such a star master would unexpectedly rely on his strength alone to do this. Even if she was to die, I will ask Master on your behalf. However, with the 3 heavenly books about to begin, we will be fighting for time. Gong Kaiwei said with misgivings. 3. The White Tiger territory and Azure Dragon's extreme north were practically at opposite sides. Going to and from, the 3 heavenly books would have already begun, leaving considerably little time. We'll see later then. When the time comes, your concubine can go help Lord Husband obtain the 10,000-year black ice. Wu Siyou calmly answered. 10,000-year black ice. Perhaps even the Harmstar Pilgrim would not have such an easy time obtaining it. Zhao Hanyan shook her head. Ask first, then we'll see. Su Xing also knew that the 10,000-year black ice's environment would be extremely vile, and he did not want to make Wu Siyou take risks. I know. Gong Kaiwei was quiet. The light of daybreak fell into the serene forest. Birdsong and flower fragrance filled the air, and the grass stirred with the blowing wind. A young woman dressed in a simple and elegant long skirt trailing the ground currently sat in front of a hut in the forest. A drawing board was set on her knee, and the ink painting was tenderly outlined stroke by stroke. On the portrait was a man and a woman. The man embraced his female counterpart, lowering his head in a passionate kiss, and the female's long black hair was rendered by the female painter with the utmost care, fanned out like a waterfall, considerably graceful as it was drawn from a deep to a light shade. The woman shut her eyes, showing an intoxicated expression. Under the young woman's brush strokes, the portrait was lifelike, vividly portrayed. It made a viewer unable to help but feel envy for the man able to embrace the beauty. Su Yixiao stopped painting and gazed at the portrait, spellbound. In her mind, she could not help but recall that extremely legendary scene in the Crystal Dragon Palace. Under everyone's stares, he signed the most sublime kiss contract with the Star General Wu Song. And only he was able to do such a thing. Just what sort of person is the Purple Thunder Monster? Su Yixiao also remembered Lining Mei and Wanyue. They similarly served the Purple Thunder Monster as beauties on his left and right hand sides. Yixiao, your painting approaching closer and closer to perfection. A young woman in a green, 100-pleat skirt stood nearby, quietly smiling, like a valley orchid. Her slender white fingers stroked the painting. The figures in the painting seemed to come alive under her tough, Only one person in the world could possess such absolutely beautiful hands, sacred-handed scholar Xiao Qingyan. Yixiao, has he won you over? Xiao Qingyan said. Su Yixiao gently said. Qingyan, could it be that you are not curious? Why martial generals like Wu Song, Lin Yingmei, and Hua Wanyue would follow him? Even the strength star stands on his side, and there is also the Lingyan princess. Xiao Qingyan nodded. Indeed, this sort of matter could not be found even if one was to overturn every annal of the star record, but was such a thing important? His star generals increasing in number merely indicated that the situation for the other star masters was growing increasingly difficult. From the perspective of worldly people, in the 1,000 years of star duels, Wu Song signing a contract is beginning to already be meaningless. Xiao Qingyan indifferently described the painting. With the final stroke, the life-managing black bamboo wolf brush drew a line of purple vapor that dispersed the man and woman in the painting like smoke. Does the Purple Thunder monster not have another nickname, Purple Thunder Saint? Yixiao believes he must have some special trait that can allow Lin Yingmei to follow him. Qingyan, could it be you do not have faith in the majestic star's judgment? Xiao Qingyan did not have an answer. Little sister Yixiao, you must not be fooled by the Purple Thunder monster. A voice said from inside the hut. A girl dressed in light blue palace garb walked out, and beside her was a gentle girl in a blue and white skirt and shirt. Elder sister Chuha, have you traded blows with the Purple Thunder monster before? Su Yixiao asked. This man practices some unknown evil cultivation method. You cannot be in contact with him for too long. Chuha personally witnessed the head of the 5 tiger generals' brave star fall prey to this evil magic. She betrayed her own contractor and fell into the endless abyss. Sikong Chuha coldly said. Su Yixiao was shocked. As I thought. Xiao Qingyan said this was logical. Little sister and I once sought him out because we believed in the majestic star, yet we were nearly killed. Mentioning her little sister, Sikong Chuha showed grief. Elder sister, please save your grief. Su Yixiao consoled her. However, the Purple Thunder monster is so ostentatious that all the star masters in the 7 stars assembly will surely unite against him. Sikong Chuha said. Little sister has also seen it. Against Li Taisui's might, the Purple Thunder monster is no match. In the future, he will inevitably suffer a calamity, and it seems Maiden Mountain and Chaogai seek trouble with him. We cannot associate with him any further, so as to avoid bringing our own doom. Xiao Qingyan nodded, agreeing with Sikong Chuha's perspective. Su Yixiao retracted her previous sentimentality, slightly smiling. Elder sister, be at ease, Yixiao also understands. Right, is Tai Shuang alright? After the Crystal Dragon Palace, Su Yixiao and Sikong Chuha brought the heavily injured Tai Shuang away to this forest to recuperate. His injuries are too severe. Right now, he is relying on Pei Caishuan's star energy feedback support to persist. Sikong Chuha wrinkled her brow. Tai Shuang had been slammed by Xiang Chenxing's true body, shattering his whole body's meridians. To live through that was a stroke of luck. Although they had used many medicines after the matter, he would still need a length of time to recover. In any case, we worked together. Su Yixoa forced a smile, although the teamwork between the 3 of them was no match for a single heavenly spirit star general. Little sister Yixiao, Chuha sees that your identity has some noble background, presumably not simple. Chuha wonders which house you hail from? I am a commoner, there is no house. Su Yixiao shook her head. Sikong Chuha was not forceful when she saw the girl was not willing to answer. Then what plans does little sister Yixiao have next? Su Yixiao pondered. The 3 heavenly books was about to begin, and returning to manager her in was no longer possible. Elder sister, what plans do you have? Originally, Chuha and little sister were planning to go to the White Tiger territory to find Heaven Earth Stone Iron. But now little sister has taken her leave first, and Chuha is suddenly left at a loss of what to do. Heaven Earth Shears? Su Yixiao had heard of a spirit treasure that apparently required psychic communication. The higher the mutual understanding, the stronger the Heaven Earth Shears became. The Sikong sisters were twins, so their tacit understanding was naturally unspoken. Little sister Yixiao, how about we team up? The situation of the star duels is unstable. You and I have good rapport, and I wish to forge this heaven-earth shear with little sister Yixiao. Sikong Chuha tidied her bereaved mood and asked. Su Yixiao asked the sacred-handed scholar. Qingyan, what do you feel? Xiao Qingyan still sketched a new painting and did not lift her head. Everything is your own decision, Yixiao. Su Yixiao looked at Sikong Chuha's genuine friendliness and the always gentle expression in Shan Menger's eyes. Su Yixiao felt no feelings of revulsion towards them. Then Yixiao is indebted to elder sister Chuha's kindness. Su Yixiao gracefully bowed. Thank you, little sister Yixiao. Sikong Chuha excitedly clasped Su Yixiao's hands, leaking tears of joy. Let us set out at once. Chuha feels this trip to the White Tiger territory is a good opportunity to scout information about the Demonkin, to find out just what these Demonkin Star Masters are. Fine. And what about that man? The silent until now General of Sacred Water Shan Menger blinked her tender and leisurely eyes. As if she had heard their conversation, a woman with black armor and a black face veil looked at them from the window. Little sister Kaixian, you will have to look after your master. Give him a message for us. If fate would have it, may we meet again at the Seven Stars Assembly. Sikong Chuha slightly smiled. Kaixian understands. The woman's voice was cold and stiff, but there was gratitude. 4 Styles School. The star-riding dragon boat drew a river of stars as it descended above Fire Eastern Island. Before it could enter the island, they were stopped by a pair of male and female nebula stage cultivators. This place is the 4 Styles School's territory. We ask that senior announce your name. The female cultivator deferentially cupped her fist in a salute, sensing the powerful aura emanating from the dragon boat. The 2 cultivators were already breaking out in a cold sweat, their fists tightly clenched. Senior Sister Yingyu, it's me. It has been a long time. I trust you have been well. The dragon boat's canopy was pulled open, and an elegant man walked out onto the deck while an expressionless girl followed behind him. The female cultivator was taken aback when she saw the man, but then she was pleasantly surprised. Junior brother Su Xing, junior sister Lianxin. They were exactly Su Xing and Tang Lianxin. Long time no see, junior brother. I heard that junior sister Hongxue said that junior brother presented the headmaster with a life-extending flat peach. The entire staff was discussing about junior brother Su Xing. Yang Yinyu showed an expression of wonder, her eyes full of adoration as she looked at Su Xing life-extending flat peach, Liangshan continent's holy fruit. It was surprisingly gifted to the headmaster. Who would have been so generous, especially a star master? The junior brother Su Xing in front of her honestly was somewhat mysterious. Yang Yinyu carefully looked and noticed that while Su Xing's aura was introverted, it exhibited a powerful pressure. Clearly, his cultivation was already unfathomable. It was useless in my hands anyways. Su Xing did not mind. Junior brother Su Xing. You must not know, many of the sect's senior and junior sisters have asked Yinyu about junior brother. Yang Yinyu smiled and said. Su Xing also smiled. Before, he did not spend much time in the 4 Styles School. The lone person he got along with was Yang Yinyu. Yang Yinyu herself perhaps never thought that ordinary man from back then would ever soar into a realm where the life-extending flat peach did not mean much. Recalling that as if it was yesterday, she sighed. Su Xing and Yang Yinyu chatted for a while until Tang Lianxin tugged Su Xing's sleeve to remind him. Only then did they end their chat. Headmaster has already given orders that if junior brother Su Xing returned to the sect, he must personally be notified. He wants to welcome you himself. No need. I am only a youngster. Su Xing shook his head. Then he guided the star-riding boat straight to the main hall. Seeing that far away back, Yang Yinyu let out a sigh of regret. Junior sister, could it be that you have also fallen in love with junior brother Su Xing? The male cultivator guarding the island alongside her inquired. Yang Yinyu hardly concealed her attraction. Junior brother Su Xing has changed greatly now. How can Yinyu dare reach above herself? Star masters are just incredible. I never thought that in such a short time, Su Xing's cultivation would be nearly the same as the headmaster's. We could cultivate for a lifetime, and still not know whether or nor we could even reach this realm. Nearly the same as the headmaster's? Yang Yinyu shook her head. Senior brother, you have guessed incorrectly. Junior brother Su Xing is already Super Void. What Super Void stage? The male cultivator was shocked. The Azure Dragon Territory's #1 star master Xie Yuan is Super Void. Could it be that junior brother Su Xing is an even greater genius than Xie Yuan? Maybe so. In short, Yinyu could never match up with him. The man was somewhat envious. Truly remarkable. Fortunately, Star Masters must ascend Maiden Mountain. If every person received a chance at the Star Duels, if they did not fight to the death to go to Maiden Mountain. Just what is Maiden Mountain? To be so powerful, to surprisingly be capable of so easily allowing an ordinary cultivator transform into a dragon. Perhaps that is the legendary Star World. The man suddenly recalled something and his eyes lit up. Since junior brother Su Xing Sr. has already reached Super Void, and the headmaster is nearly about to break through to Super Void stage, does this mean that our 4 Styles school will have 2 Super Void cultivators? Then in this time's Alliance of 10 conference, the 4 Styles school has a hope of entering into the 3 palaces and 4 sword sects. As their former 9 dragons great sect had declined for so long, were they finally able to stage a comeback? Yinyu fears you are thinking too much. Yang Yinyu gently shook her head. In this Alliance of 10 conference, the headmaster perhaps will not attend. The headmaster will not attend this Alliance of 10 conference? Su Xing was considerably surprised when he heard Juyueka's answer. Ever since the Alliance of 10 was formed in the Azure Dragon territory, countless sects sustained heavy injuries for this reason as they strive to obtain a position in the Alliance of 10. To become one of the Azure Dragon's Alliance of 10, no matter the sect's location in the Azure Dragon territory, they would receive promotion as well as every sort of salary that was beyond normal levels. For example, the Most High Path, head of the Azure Dragon territory's sects, enjoyed every sort of benefit. The 4 heads of the 4 spirit peaks thought the same as Su Xing Senior. Su Xing, you must advise the headmaster. This is but a heaven-bestowed opportunity for a resurgence of the 4 Styles school. Fire Spirit Peak's chief, Ruan Hongda, solemnly used this honorific. He is right. Not only can this Alliance of 10 conference redetermine the Azure Dragon territory's 10 sects, every property under the Most High Path's name will be redistributed. If we miss this, that will be too pitiful. Senior Su Xing, please advise the headmaster. Yes, Senior Su Xing has been greatly favorable to this sect. The headmaster will definitely listen to you. The group of leaders each anxiously urged Su Xing. After the Crystal Dragon Palace, the Azure Dragon territory's #1 Most High Path could be said to be that only in name. Although the Most High Path still had numerous powerful supercluster late stages standing guard, 3 of its 4 great elders had already died, and the remaining Northern Darkness had capitulated to the White Tiger's demonkin. Now, there were even rumors in the Azure Dragon territory that cultivators on the level of Emperor Liang were preparing to break down the Most High Path's power. One thing for sure was that in the Alliance of 10 conference, the clear void Most High Path of old would inevitably be expelled. Senior, there is no need to be so polite with your servant. Just call my name. Su Xing said. As for the Alliance of 10 conference, I will speak with the headmaster, but I heard that to enter the Azure Dragon territory's 10 sects, there is a requirement of 1 super void cultivator guarding the sect in order to join the 4 sword sects. Su Xing remembered that the 4 Style School's highest headmaster Taoist Master Xian Tian was no more than supercluster late stage. Juyueka slightly smiled. This is due to your life-extending flat peach, Su Xing. Not only has it saved the headmaster's life, it has allowed the headmaster to break through the supercluster late-stage bottleneck. This is not unforeseen. In 2 days the headmaster can leave seclusion. So this was the case. Su Xing understood. However, master, why does the headmaster not want to attend the Alliance of 10 conference? Is this not a good opportunity? It is because of Falling Blossom Ghost Kingdom. Juyueka shook her head. What is happening with the Falling Blossom Ghost Kingdom? Do you remember when you first entered the school, Master mentioned to you matters concerning the Falling Blossom Ghost Kingdom? Xing nodded. The Falling Blossom Ghost Kingdom had a very famous ghost martial cultivator, who was unmatched. The deepest thing in his memory was that Fire Eastern Island was situated at the throat of the Falling Blossom Ghost Kingdom's route into the Azure Dragon territory. Because of this, only the Four Styles school persisted after the destruction of the ancient Nine Dragons' great sect. Can it be that the Falling Blossom Ghost Kingdom wants to seize a chance to invade the Azure Dragon territory during this turmoil? Xing pondered and actually thought that this was possible. The White Tiger's Demonkin appearing on stage made the Most High Path's #1 ancestral master defect. If they truly eyed the Azure Dragon territory like a tiger eyes its prey, it was not impossible they would ally with the Falling Blossom Ghost Kingdom to invade while the Azure Dragon territory was still at the end of its rope. The Falling Blossom Ghost Kingdom specially cultivates in a type of Ghost Path sword chant. Zhiyu said. Some time ago, the Falling Blossom Ghost Kingdom's ghost chi suddenly magnified, and the Four Styles school particularly sensed it. This clearly demonstrates that the Falling Blossom Ghost Kingdom has someone that cultivated the Ghost Path sword art to its peak. This is a dangerous sign, and I have investigated that several island nations around the 1,000 li of the Falling Blossom Ghost Kingdom have nearly 100 black warships. I fear that the Falling Blossom Ghost Kingdom is already finished preparing. The Ghost Path sword chant's completion is but a catastrophe. Several dozen years ago, the Ghost Cavalry King led a slaughter in all directions, and in the end, he was sealed thanks to Emperor Liang's plan. The other heads spoke in deep worry. So the headmaster has ordered the Four Styles school to enter seclusion for the next few months, to guard Fire Eastern Island with full power. There is no possibility to join the Alliance of 10 Conference. Senior Ueka, Honda shall say this. If the Four Styles school can become one of the Azure Dragon's 10 sects, then protecting Fire Eastern Island can be much easier. Once the Ghost Path Sword Saint appears, our Four Styles school will be in an inauspicious position. With just us alone, it will be difficult to resist them. But if we go attend the Alliance of 10 Conference, the Ghost Kingdom can seize the gap to invade. The Four Styles school will suffer a disastrous drowning. The headmaster cannot bear this loss. As the group argues, Xing was continually in deep thought after he heard Zhiyueka's words. Xing, what do you think? Zhiyueka could see that Xing was thinking and believed he had an idea. Headmaster's worries are logical, but not attending the Alliance of 10 Conference is nevertheless a bit regrettable. Xing said. Zhiyueka sighed. Master understands. The Alliance of 10 Conference is held once every 50 years. There were changes this time only because of the Most High Path's betrayal, and senior brother Xiantian has finally entered Supervoid stage. Next time, who knows what changes there will be. Exactly. Junior brother Xing is also Supervoid cultivation. If you can help take action for our sect, the Four Styles school can possibly become the Four Styles Palace. Ruan Honda restrained his excitement. This was why they were so determined to go attend the Alliance of 10 Conference. To have the Four Styles school encounter another peerless genius Supervoid cultivator was simply once in a century. If this is the case, I can introduce my wife. Her cultivation has also reached Supervoid, and she can lend headmaster a hand. Xing thought of Siyou. For the Four Styles school to manifest 3 Supervoid cultivators, even across the Azure Dragon territory's 10 great sects, this was a rare sight. Everyone was delighted, not daring to believe this as they asked. Does junior brother Xing actually have a Supervoid cultivator wife? And I shall go back and speak with her. Xing nodded. The seniors present cupped their fists in worship, and even Zhiyueka felt lightheaded. As far as the Four Styles school was concerned, to have 2 Supervoid cultivators emerge in an instant nearly made them faint. However, we should still wait for headmaster to emerge from seclusion, then discuss. Zhiyueka calmed down. Everything follows headmaster's decision. Disciple understands. After discussing a while longer, Xing found an excuse to take his leave first. When he left the main hall, Tang Lianxin was sitting on a stairway, meticulously recording notes. When she heard footsteps, Tang Lianxin rose and welcomed him. Elder brother, what is happening with the Four Styles school? There are things to do, let's go back and talk. Su Xing smiled. He held Tang Lianxin's soft body and used an escape technique, suddenly vanishing from the plaza. Su Xing returned to the place he lived in at the Four Styles School, into the Mirror Flower Stream Hut. Linning Wu Xinjie Wu Siyou, Zhiyu and the others were busy with their own matters. When they saw Su Xing return, they immediately inquired with him. Su Xing then explained the Four Styles Hall's situation from beginning to end. Ghost Path Sword Saint? The Four Styles School surprisingly has such a large problem. Zhiyu sighed. So long as this wife too can help sir, then this wife is duty-bound. Don't worry about this yet. I actually have a plan right now. Su Xing said. Young master, what do you want to do? Linning apparently caught on to the scent of danger. I want to take a trip to the Falling Blossom Ghost Kingdom. Su Xing said. Elder brother, what are you going to the Ghost Kingdom to do? Tang Lianxin was confused. I see you want to act cool and go face the Ghost Path Sword Saint. Wanyue disdainfully twitched her lips. The Ghost Path Sword Saint won't be easy to handle. Rumor is that the Ghost Path Sword Saint cultivated to the limit and possesses an immortal body. Before, the Vermilion Bird Territory's Ghost Cavalry King of the Ghoul clan had cultivated this Ghost Path Sword chant to achieve great renown in the world. The Ghost God's Bane in his hand was hailed as a divine weapon of the Ghost Path, extremely formidable. Wu Xinjie said. She suddenly thought of something and looked at Su Xing in slight astonishment, blinking. Could it be that young lord is thinking of? That's right. Su Xing confirmed Wu Xinjie's thinking. Because the Ghost Cavalry King's cultivation was greatly diminished, he had finally perished under Yan Yizhen's 3 arrows lethal crossbow, and that Ghost God's Bane wound up in Su Xing's hands. Originally, Su Xing wanted to cultivate this formidable weapon, but just touching it was like having 10,000 demons devour his soul. He was completely unable to cultivate it and gave up. Now, since he heard that the Falling Blossom Ghost Kingdom had someone who practiced the Ghost Path Sword chant to its peak, Su Xing wanted to find an opportunity to turn the Ghost God's Bane to his own use at the same time. Although Su Xing currently possessed the powerful fighting talent of the average star general, unlike a star general, he did not possess a destined star weapon to call his own. In battle, this was a great detriment, and the sword chant formed from flying swords had no way of assuming the functions of normal weapons. Thus Su Xing wanted to refine this Ghost God's Bane. Maybe he could not refine an immortal body, but at least he could practice it to perfection. Everyone was deep in thought. In the end, the beauties stared at each other, feeling this was somewhat logical. Then your servant shall accompany young master. No can do this time. I order you to stay in the immortal's abode and properly recover. Su Xing did not hesitate to decline. The battle at the Crystal Dragon Palace had been a few days ago. Linning Mei's battle strength was far from completely recovered, and Su Xing did not want to make the girls too fatigued. Hunyangzi said. To allow dear husband to go to the Ghost Kingdom alone. Nyangzi is unable to be at ease. Please forgive Nyangzi for this disobedience. N. Linning Mei also showed exceptional determination. Wives, your dear husband is not so useless. Su Xing smiled. If you insist on going, then I can only give up going to the Ghost Kingdom. He shook his head, a compromising attitude. Linning Mei's heart could not bear this. Having been with Su Xing for so long, how could she not know that Su Xing's personality liked being in the face of danger? Now that he was thinking of giving up an adventure for their sake, the majestic star's heart was choked up. Allow your concubine to accompany Lord Husband. Wu Siyou slowly said. Everyone placed their gazes on the cool and elegant pilgrim. Only then did they remember that she and Su Xing signed a 1,000-year contract that day in the Crystal Dragon Palace. Now this was the perfect situation, and perhaps no one would dare doubt the harm star pilgrim Wu Song's capabilities. Wu Xinjie smiled. Then let us allow Siyou to accompany Lord Husband. Then the knowledge star winked ambiguously to the other sisters that wanted to speak. The other sisters understood. Wu Siyou and Su Xing had just signed a contract, and they needed to find time to allow the two of them to adapt to each other alone. Okay. Sister Siyou and Su Xing signed a contract. Let's just treat it as their honeymoon. Sure, Yuan stuck out her tongue. Young lord, how do you feel? Wu Xinjie smiled. Su Xing knew that ever since the overlords appeared, to allow him to be on his own, the girls would never be relaxed. Of course there's no problem, but this is a bit unfair to you. As long as young lord remembers us in his heart, that will do. In the future, you must remember to compensate the sisters. Wu Xinjie chuckled. Su Xing thought that he did owe them too much, especially the Shaking who was far away in the Buddha kingdom. After their contract, they had continually not been in contact. Although the time in the star duels was pressing, he still wanted to do something for them. Siyou, you must properly attend to young lord on our behalf. Wu Xinjie deliberately used a very ambiguous tone when she said properly attend. Wu Siyou's face blushed slightly and nodded. Wanyue had originally wanted to say something, but seeing this scene, she knew that her speaking up would only make her an eyesore. And seeing Su Xing talk and laugh with Lin Yingmei and all the sisters, their scene of joy and harmony, suddenly Wanyue felt that she was an extra person. Wanyue, then I shall leave this place to you. Just as Wanyue was slightly preoccupied, she suddenly heard a resounding voice speak to her. Wanyue returned to her senses. Seeing Su Xing's confidence in her, she could not help but subconsciously nod. You had best not allow Siyou feel annoyed. I still want to personally fight you. Wanyue coldly snorted, stern. For the sake of our agreement, Wanyue, I will live not matter what. Su Xing guaranteed seriously. Wanyue nodded, but she immediately thought that this agreement sounded strange. As it turned out, it felt as if they had made a lifelong pledge. Of course, what was even stranger was that hero star Wanyue's heart unexpectedly was not angry like before. She was even somewhat eager. This is not encouraging. Southern Yu Kingdom, Yu Dragon Mountain. The Southern Yu Kingdom was no more than one of the Azure Dragon territory's several dozen small kingdoms. Across the entire Azure Dragon territory, it was not worth any mention. So was the Yu Dragon Mountain. Although the mountain was precipitous, the entire summit was barren, not a single shade of green in sight. The mountaintop was desolate, filled with countless cracks as if it had been cleaved open by a blade, a scene wretched to the eyes. The lust-like summit had a broken palace, covered in dust. There were no signs of life. Occasionally, several figures in brown robes walked by, but they were aimless. The atmosphere was lifeless, and the rustling autumn wind brought an even more desolate feeling whenever it blew by. However, who would have thought that 500 years ago, the Yu Dragon Mountain was once one of the Azure Dragon territory's famous mountains, once a famous destination sought by countless cultivators, once filling the Yu Dragon Mountain only yearning to hear those ancient sermons. And that broken palace had vestiges of magnificence, evidence of that senior 9 dragon's glory. This was that Yu Dragon Hall that the Azure Dragon territory had once acclaimed as the Azure Dragon. And upon mention of the Azure Dragon, Yu Dragon Hall's legendary flourish and decline, the folk living at the foot of the mountain even now would still sigh and lament. After the star duels began, the contracts of the star duels changed the situation of the Azure Dragon territory's cultivators. Countless sects began to seek a chance in the star duels to turn a sparrow into a phoenix. The ancient Senior 9 Dragon's great sect thus began its sudden and devastating decline. Although the Yu Dragon Hall spared no effort, even with a genius during the 4th star duels, one star master who was able to contract 2 stars, he was unable to change this fate. By the time of the 5th star duels, it had finally withered. The Yu Dragon Mountain's spiritual power had been eaten clean away by countless cultivators. In the end, it had fallen into a barren state. Although the Yu Dragon Hall disciples that came after felt nostalgia, returning to these grounds to establish the Yu Dragon School, they were like many other small sects, merely prolonging their dying gasp. Star Duels Year 980. On this day, a ray of green light descended from the horizon and landed at the foot of Yu Dragon Mountain. When the green light receded, 3 figures appeared. The middle was a man, and his body was somewhat large, with a bit of belly drooping down. The man appeared ordinary, but his small eyes beamed from ear to ear, making people feel he was very straightforward. He was draped in a beautiful and embroidered full-body Azure Dragon robe, colored yellow with dark markings. The color and luster were dark and gloomy, circulating magic energy. Unexpectedly, there was the shadow of a dragon coiled around his surroundings. This felt like a magic weapon with profound magic energy, but if one had delved deeply into the study of the Azure Dragon Territory's secret rumors, this would be an enormous shock. This robe was astonishingly the long-lost robe that allowed the Dragon Hall to be famous for a time, the yellow gown of coronation. There were two women flanking the fat man. Compared to the bland appearance of the fat man, these two women could be said to be moving beauties. The left-hand side woman was very young, about 15 or 16 in age, and wearing very plain white clothes. She had no accessories like a common peasant, but her unadorned attire nevertheless gave the woman a sort of simple beauty, just like the faint fragrance of ocean cherry apples. The woman's figure was delicately outlined by her white garb, revealing a young girl's immaturity. Compared to her, the woman on the man's right was the exact opposite. Her head wore a red tasseled official's cap, and her body wore a blue skin-tight shirt and skirt. The skirt was wide on both sides, splitting towards the ends, revealing her shoulders and golden inner breastplate. Her skirt had exquisite embroidery and had every kind of long ribbon. This outfit was arranged in a complex manner. She was like an heavenly immortal descended into the world from a painting. She had a pair of dazzling eyes, decorated with long eyelashes. That tall and straight nose in the center of her face was very attractive. She had cherry lips, small and delicate, a glossy red like blood. What was amazing was the woman's slender jade legs. She did not wear boots, but her snow-white legs were protected by white skin-tight leggings. Her hands were similarly magnificent, with a vaguely gem-like quality. Under the sunlight, she appeared translucent, lustrous to the eyes. From far away, she was like a high fairy descended into the world. Old pig. Too, is Qingci blind? The beautiful, fairy-like woman blinked her blue and clear eyes, wrinkling her brow. Big brother, this is not the place, is it? The plain and simple girl gazed at the far-off Dragon Mountain. The man that was called Old Pig and Big Brother narrowed his already small eyes. No mistake. Qingci, 3 Fenghua. This is Dragon Mountain's Dragon Hall. Really? Fenghua still felt that no matter what, the mountain before her eyes was very desolate, practically the complete opposite of what she remembered. It looks like something misfortunate happened. Qingci surmised. Let us go inside and look. Old Pig's eyes contained coldness as he walked up the mountain. Fenghua said to Qingci, Sister Qingci, what do we do? Whatever Old Pig wants to do, we shall see. Qingci did not hesitate to harumph. The girl shrugged and had no choice but to follow along. The Falling Blossom Ghost Kingdom received its name from ghosts and cherry blossoms, but in the eyes of the Azure Dragon Territory's cultivators it was always an uncivilized and barbaric place. That place cultivated ghost path sword arts similar to the Black Turtle Territories. Ghost martial cultivators were particularly noteworthy, and it was this reason that gave people a kind of negative feeling. In many people's eyes, a place like the Falling Blossom Ghost Kingdom was as stifling as hell, a place enveloped year-round in a deathly aura. But not entirely. Kyoto, 5 Falling Blossom Ghost Kingdom's national capital city. It was constructed imitating the design of the great Liang's City. There was a castle and pavilions, halls lofty as the mountains, but the difference from Bien City was that Kyoto had planted many cassia trees, willows, and also sakura. The number of sakura trees was astounding. Looking down at Kyoto, the landscape was full of pink. The splendid willows and sakura intersected, planted like woven silk. From Su Xing's perspective, to stroll down a road of sakura with his beloved was just that romantic. Never expected the people of the Ghost Kingdom to be posed as being cultured. Wuxia was beside him, showing a bit of wonder as she looked at the surrounding sakura trees. Su Xing felt deeply the same. However, your servant nevertheless feels this is strange. Your servant heard that the Ghost Kingdom is split into countless vassal states, competing against one another all year long. Apparently this is not the case? Wuxia was perplexed. Su Xing had also heard Wu Xinjie mention the Falling Blossom Ghost Kingdom's matters. This long and narrow island nation had always been in endless conflict. The people had no way to get by, so although the Azure Dragon Territory's cultivators disliked the Ghost Kingdom's martial cultivators, They were also content to watch their world burn. However, now it appeared as tranquil as the Great Liang. Perhaps a character like Emperor Liang has appeared and taken rule. Xing shrugged. Wuxia felt this was also a possibility. Lord Husband, have you prepared how to take care of this ghost path sword chant matter? Wuxia's thoughts returned to Xing. I've already finished planning, however, it's still early right now. Let's the two of us take a stroll. Xing tugged Wuxia's hand, allowing no time for explanation as he dashed to every vendor booth along the Kyoto street. Selling steamed buns, delicious Sakura buns. A young and cute voice reverberated along the street. Xing and Wuxia followed the voice at the same time, and spotted a cart along the side of the road. A super cute little girl wearing an apron was holding a steamer basket in one hand while the other held a white pork bun, as she shouted out to the street. This street led to Kyoto's famous imperial city and several important forts. There were many travelers, so the girl's business was very bustling. Such a young person, yet she's selling steamed buns? Xing was speechless. Just as he was about to step forward and ask a question, he noticed that Wuxia's expression was somewhat pained. Wifey, what's wrong? Wuxia's gaze stared at that no more than 7 or 8-year-old girl, her icy pupils flashing a bit of coldness. She immediately recovered. Nothing. Let's go have a taste. Xing dragged Wuxia over in front of the girl. Hihi, do you two customers want to buy Sakura buns? Freshly made to Siyou. 6. The little girl was exceptionally cute, with a pair of big eyes and 2 little pigtails. When she smiled, her cheeks showed a dazzling red hue. Even a porcelain doll could not be this cute. 2. Xing smiled. Sakura buns were like other normal large steamed buns, but the buns had a sakura petal's red imprint. Xing took a bite, and when it entered his mouth, the flavor actually was pretty good. Wuxia carefully bit, but her gaze still sized up the little girl. What's your name? Is it just you alone? Xing asked. I am called Koito. 7. What is customer thinking of doing? The little lowly blinked her innocent eyes, making Xing suddenly have a sort of feeling of guilt. Where is your family? Xing asked her. No can say. You're so young. How can your parents have the heart to leave you on your own? Xing wrinkled his brow. Koito's interest is only in selling buns. Koito's eyes widened in offense. Xing had never encountered this sort of situation, and he temporarily did not know what to say. Lord Husband, there is no need to worry about her. Wuxia softly said. The pilgrim glanced at Xing. Xing understood tacitly. He glanced at the surroundings and immediately sensed a powerful presence hidden in a corner standing guard here. As if Xing only had to act without thinking for that presence to immediately kill him. What made Xing pay particular attention was that presence was exceptionally strong. This sort of feeling made Xing himself very surprised. With Xing's current strength, to give him this kind of powerful feeling was already a very rare thing. And Wuxia was apparently provoked as well. The pilgrim's blood was beginning to stir, her interest piqued. The surrounding people felt pressure, and they already ducked away somewhat in fear. Just at this moment, that dangerous presence suddenly vanished, making Xing and Wuxia lose track of it. The two of them looked at each other, thinking they had been mistaken. Customer, Koito has just made this sweetheart bun de Siyou. Koito said, presenting a heart-shaped meat bun. Are you two married? If so, then Koito shall gift this to you de Siyou. The little girl's innocence made Xing incapable of refusing. Truly thanks. If you have any problems, Big Brother will help you. Xing stroked the girl's head. Really? Koito's red cheeks were even redder. Xing nodded and suddenly whispered. Do you want to play hide and seek? But Koito still wants to sell steamed buns. Koito thought and shook her head. Xing did not expect her to be so dedicated to her work, making him perspire endlessly. After giving them the sweetheart bun, Koito began shouting again, cheerfully hawking her steamed buns. Her little face brimmed with a happy expression. It seemed that selling steamed buns was indeed her interest. Xing had originally thought of using her to lure out the owner of that powerful aura. Instantly he felt somewhat guilty. Su Xing and Wuxia sat to the side and ordered a bottle of wine. As they drank, they watched the little lowlies work. However, Su Xing did not forget his own work to monitor information from this place's residents about Kyoto's strongest ghost martial cultivator. As before, top-notch ghost path sword chi appeared in the Falling Blossom Ghost Kingdom. Then, to take action starting from the strongest sword saint was the simplest method they had. However, the answer Su Xing received gave him a bit of a headache. Kyoto's kendo arenas were simply unsurpassed in number, and the Ghost Path Sword Chance schools were even more complex than the Azure Dragon territories, such as Minamoto no Yoshitsun's Kyohachi Ryu, Kamakura Arajita Ryu, and some Jikishinkage Ryu, Ita Ryu, Yagyu Ryu and more, and there were even some subordinate to Ghost Saint Kakuki. A cultivator's strength could be told at a glance if they cultivated in the Azure Dragon territory, but the Falling Blossom Ghost Kingdom was the opposite. Perhaps those sword saints had cultivation, but how could the general populace understand this? Discussions about whoever was stronger were of conflicting opinions. Lord Husband, there is no need to feel so distressed. We shall directly ask the person themselves when the time comes. Wuxia disapproved. Fine. Su Xing thought. It could not be helped. Huzuaninia Ryu spearmanship is here. Ignorant whelp, take this. Yagyu Shinkage Ryu Mudodori. I am Yoshioka Sijiro. I have nothing to fear from the greed of someone with a false reputation. Watch this. Sword Saint Nobitsuna. Give me your life. Tsubaime Geishi. I am Miyamoto Musashi of the Nittanichi Ryu. You shall become a stepping stone upon my path to becoming strong. Ha! The cultured Kyoto seemed especially lively these past few days. The several dozen ghost martial paths entrenched in Kyoto had all encountered challenges from a young man. This young man prattled on about finding the ghost path sword saint who had refined the ghost path to its pinnacle. Beside the man was a beautiful woman, stunning the entire city of Kyoto, inciting the envy of countless. The swordmasters of each of these training fields each declared bold words, yet the conclusions were total defeats in duels. And immediately afterwards, the publicly recognized strongest ghost martial cultivator in Kyoto, the sword saint possessing the name Kamiyazumi Nobitsuna, was defeated. The name Ghost Buddha spread throughout the Sakura of Kyoto. Ghost Buddha. Wuxia could not help but feel that such a name was ridiculous when she heard of it. What an honestly cultured reverence they have. The Su Xing who had spent the last few days turning Kyoto on it head shrugged. To be honest, Kyoto's ghost martial cultivators were indeed very strong, but the difference in cultivation was too great. Even if he did not use Supervoid's spiritual pressure to restrain them, just by relying on his combat abilities alone, Su Xing was able to easily emerge victorious. Of course, due to using the meditative mind lotus flower in battle, and also not striking the killing blow against those so-called ghost martial swordmasters, this Ghost Buddha title spread like wildfire, known throughout Kyoto. However, none of them could reach the pinnacle of the ghost path. Afterwards, Su Xing consulted with these ghost martial cultivators on the sword chants they trained in, but none of them could match with Ghost God's Bane. Does Lord Husband truly wish to refine the Ghost God's Bane? Wuxia stopped her footsteps, turning her head back to stare intently. I wouldn't mind if I could try it, but it's not something I have to do. Su Xing smiled. In actuality, he did this because of Li Taisui. His good fortune prayer mat really was invincible. Even his own 5 elements flying swords cultivated to the limit would be unable to face it. Since any spiritual power magic weapon would be destroyed by the good fortune prayer mat, Su Xing remembered the ghost god Bane. When the time came, he would at least have some room to fight. Actually, Lord Husband need not exhaust himself like this. If we sisters work together, no one will be able to harm Lord Husband. Wuxia's gentle tone made Su Xing's heart bubble with warmth. I know, but in any case, I can't not do anything. He absolutely could not let his hands be tied. This was not Su Xing's style. Wuxia grunted. She asked this only to let Su Xing know that the harm star was capable of protecting her man. Selling steamed buns disu. A delicate voice floated down the street. Su Xing and Wuxia walked over. Like usual, They found a place to sit down and ordered several steamed buns. After coming to Kyoto, this Koito's steamed bun booth had become the place Xing frequently rested at. On one hand, he enjoyed Kyoto's culture, and on the other, he could listen for surrounding intelligence. Koito specially made this for you too. Fresh out of the steamer Desuyo. The girl's adorably large eyes brimmed with anticipation. Speaking with her a little while, Xing took a bite. The little loli's handiwork was extremely good. He wondered how the steamed bun trap was made. It immediately dissolved upon entering his mouth, and a warmth flowed into his heart, as if he had been reborn. As he ate, Xing saw that Wuxia was a bit preoccupied. "Siyou, what's the matter?" "Nothing." Wuxia put away her gaze. Xing glanced at Koito, and then back at Siyou. "These past couple days I've noticed you seem to dislike Koito?" "No, and your servant cannot put it into words either. Your servant feels that she is not very simple at all." Wuxia's brow locked tight. No one had ever made the pilgrim feel uncomfortable, and ever since they encountered this seemingly innocuous Koito in Kyoto, her heart always had a sort of unshakable unease. Xing recalled the powerful presence that was lurked hidden from that day. Afterwards, Xing had tried to tail Koito, but he always lost track of her, making Xing considerably depressed. In the end, seeing that this little loli truly only had interest in selling steamed buns and baked cakes, he gave up his pursuit. Speaking of Koito, Xing also remembered another little loli, that ranked 27th fulfillment star, the buxom Manxiang. He wondered how that little loli she contracted with in the Falling Blossom Ghost Kingdom was doing now. Just as Xing and Wuxia were appreciating the Sakura, suddenly, the sound of hoofbeats came from outside the city gates. Several chariots swiftly sped by along the main avenue, and the surrounding commoners fled like birds. The chariots approached directly in this direction, and the man aboard shouted, "Move aside, move aside." Just as the chariot was about to knock into Koito's setup, Xing's divine intent moved, and his spiritual power diffused. The bellowing steeds immediately became timid under his spiritual power, turning more docile than rabbits. The samurai on the chariot had been about to angrily curse when he suddenly spotted Xing. His complexion changed, and he stared blankly at Xing, and even his breathing became extremely cautious. The enemy was left with no choice but to dodge past the incorporeal killing intent. Several strands of her hair were cut, and the leftover killing intent plunged straight ahead, slicing through a statue down the street like a knife through butter. Wuxia continuously slashed, finally repelling the sneak attacker. The enemy landed 100 meters away. When the Sakura petals scattered, they're an astonishingly mature and lovely woman. She had purple hair, glinting pupils, red armor and a tube top exposing snow-white skin, and breasts that rippled with plumpness capable of drowning a man. Even Wuxia could not help but be impressed when she saw this. The woman held a divine long saber in her hand. The wind concealing it had already dispersed under Wuxia's attack, revealing the weapon's original form. The saber's blade was just like clear crystal, and the blade's backplate was seemingly like a dragon while it was decorated with a seemingly phoenix-like motic. It glistened like blood, swirling with stars, making the starlight of the blade's body very bright. In the twinkling light, 5 stars flowed like water along the blade. A 5-star destined star weapon. Never thought you would surprisingly be Wu Song. The woman's pupils were cold. Seeing her, Xing instead did not have killing intent. "How did you get lured out?" "No mistake." The buxom and sinfully sexy woman was none other than Fulfillment Star Lord of the Beautiful Beard Zhu Manxiang. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.